All right, sweet. All righty. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 234 of the KBMOD podcast. It is May 15th, 2016. And we are back. We've been away a bit. We've had some schedule conflicts and things like that, but it's happening. The cast, well, that not everybody. Brad Hutchison is currently working on homework and just face deep in a lot of other responsibilities. I don't know why I said face deep. That sounds like a sexual thing, but he's going to be pretty slammed. So hopefully,
it turns out graduating is more important than doing a podcast.
I don't.
Week,
Yeah,
which I personally can't relate to. I mean, having been out of college for several years now,
yes.
I can't think of anything more important than doing this each week. But
exactly. Apparently,
I guess his priorities don't fall in line with ours.
He said something like, "If I'm going to go $80,000 in debt, I better get that slip of paper." And I was like, "Brad, you really don't need it." So, yeah. But anyway,
wouldn't it really be a statement to just drop out right now? To just say I was basically done and I chose not to get it.
I think that would be the most #brave thing he could do. I think him and Caitlyn Jenner could go on a tour or something and be super brave about that. So,
yeah, you get picked up on the morning shows and everything because everyone wants to know why you did it.
Exactly. Brandon, I love that idea.
And he becomes a viral sensation overnight.
Watch it, and it becomes clickbait headlines on every website and Facebook, and like, watch what this student did. You will never believe what this graduating student did right before graduation. Picture of Brad and he just dropped out.
You won't believe why this student dropped out with 1 week left of school.
And that is just like because Barn Door told him to. It's literally the punchline.
It's the KBMOD.
Yes. But we've got Katie, obviously. We've got Brandon. How you boys doing?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah. Just pretty good, Katie? Not great? Just pretty good?
I'm doing all right. I just got back from Chicago.
Yes.
A couple days ago. I went to go see Baby Metal. I don't know if you are familiar.
I did see the tweet. Okay. I have seen.
Yeah. I'm not like the biggest Baby Metal fan, but I just went because I was expecting I thought it'd be like a good experience to go. But the memorable experience was not from the music. It was all right. I didn't really care that much for it. But have either been to the House of Blues in Chicago?
I've never been to a House of Blues. But
never the Chicago House of Blues.
Oh, okay. Yes. But yeah, I don't know if it was just that one, but the seats that we got, it felt really, really cramped. It was general admission, but we somehow had balcony seats. You go up a flight of stairs, and there's like a small window to look out of, and just crowds and crowds of people to where... Okay, let me rewind a bit. So we're in line. It's raining. We're outside of the hotel. There are two people in front of us. One gentleman has a Legend of Zelda shirt, and the other one has an Attack on Titan shirt.
Okay.
That was cool, but that wasn't enough to spur conversation. I just thought, okay, they've got great taste. So...
I appreciate these fine details of your experience.
Oh, yeah. And it was just some two guys. And by the time we get in there and find a good place to seat, we were behind, or a good place to stand, we were behind a table, behind a wall where I could comfortably see like a third of the stage.
Okay.
It was really bad. I hated that place.
I mean, I saw your photo. It didn't look very comfortable from where you guys were.
Well...
Or was that pushed up?
Actually, hold on. There's more of the story. Okay. So the place that we were standing at, we could not notice the two people next to us were the same people from the line. I was like, okay, well, maybe I could bring up conversation if something happens. Something happened. He took off his Attack on Titan jacket to reveal a Neon Genesis Evangelion t-shirt. One does not normally see a Neon Genesis Evangelion t-shirt. So I had to stop him. I said, listen, that's a really nice t-shirt. Mm-hmm. He's like, ha, thanks. And so we go on and on. He shares some trivia with me about that excellent show. So events transpire, and we eventually get to lamenting.
I'm really hoping at the end of this you end up naked in his bed or something like that, because it sounds like...
Oh, well, don't spoil it.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
Sorry. And so it goes on, and we start to talk about how disappointed we are with our seats. Like, this is stupid. We paid this much for seats.
Right.
And they're so bad. And so I was with my brother, and he was wandering around trying to see where he could find, maybe there's a better place to stand. He accidentally goes into, the private area. And so, a guard stops in, or I guess, a bouncer, I don't know. I stop him and say, hey, can't go there. That's, private seating. like a box to sit in. And he was like, okay, how much would it be for one of those? Just out of sheer curiosity. It was 200 to sit in the box, and if you wanted to rent out the box seat, it was 1,000.
Good Lord.
And the capacity for that box was 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're thinking to ourselves, okay, surely there are 10 other people that want to be in this box. And so we like divided up. It went around to, I paid 60, but we impromptu socialism got all these other people. We were like, hey, you don't like your seats? For 60, 80 bucks, we can rent out a box. And so we recruit like all these other people.
Whoa.
Wait, is this during the concert or
This is
before it started,
This is
or what?
before the concert. No, this is before.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we're like, okay, do we do multiple cards? But oh yeah, we can do multiple cards. And so we all pitch in, just random. Me, my brother, a friend, two strangers. No, it was like all strangers, and we all just like pitched in to rent out a box and got.
That's cool.
The video that I posted was from there. It was a perfect stage and perfect view of the mosh pit and the crowd service. It was great, and we all just pitched in. But yeah, it was really cool how we all just like banded together.
Can I ask why you didn't just get general admission tickets in the first place?
No, but we did.
They did. That's
but by the time we got, it was so cramped. That, like just we weren't like super late, and we didn't pay for like early admission.
Okay.
But
what were general admission tickets, by the way?
I didn't buy the tickets, so I don't really know. I know that because it was like we bought them secondhand. Anyways, but yeah, it was just
there you go. Socialism at work, dude. You get the working class together, you pull your money together, and then
the world's ready for Bernie Sanders.
Dude, you should have tweeted Bernie right after that as it was happening. Maybe Snapchatted him or something. That was cool though. I can say I've never done that. I've never gotten a group of people together who said, "Fuck this general admission. Let's buy a box and pull our money." That's pretty cool though.
It was pretty cool. I thought it turned out awesome, but that was fun.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you if you did any. I mean, Katie. That's the most. I mean, you went to Chicago. You went to a House of Blues.
Packed update.
Yeah. I know, right? Compared to other weeks, I've had sometimes embarrassing, like scraps of story to tell.
Going to the park and watching people have sex.
The park, which I thought going to the park was a totally normal thing people did.
I mean,
not in the way you do it.
I just don't know. I think it's normal, but the way you described it about going at night and catching.
All right, we don't need to go back then.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Yeah.
But
baby metal is great. Yeah.
As this ranks, this is definitely up there. This is pretty solid. Did you exchange numbers with the guy with the t-shirts?
I did add him on Facebook.
Oh, nice. All right, that's good. There's some budding romance possibly there.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely have to hit him up next time I'm in Chicago.
Yeah, we go to a show again together or something.
Yeah, maybe
more socialism. That's what this country needs at this point. I mean, you know what?
Yeah,
I mean, look at what democracy has brought us. Hillary and Trump. So let's just go. Anyway, let's not go there.
Let's do it.
But
keep it on a podcast.
Yeah, I'll keep my political views out of the podcast. What about you, Brandon? Anything good? Anything good this week? Anything fun?
Not a whole lot this week, but I was at DreamHack Austin last week.
Talk about that. Cool. How was that?
It was neat. It was in downtown Austin in the convention center, and I thought the event was pretty cool. I wasn't actually I didn't have my PC or anything, but there was a big BYOC area, and it was just it was a DreamHack. You have BYOC, you have esports. I think I would not be surprised if next year it's a lot bigger because they didn't take up the whole convention center. They were only in two main ballrooms. And the one thing that if I was a BYOC participant, I'm not sure I would have liked, was the BYOC was right next to their little kind of show floor sort of thing with booths and stuff. Yeah. And so it wasn't very dark in there. Yeah. And so typically my point of comparison here is QuakeCon, because QuakeCon, all the BYOC is it's in its own room. And so when the BYOC starts, they turn the lights off. And unless there's a fire drill or some emergency kind of thing, they don't turn the lights on until it's over. Right. But all the in this room, because there were a lot of other things going on, it wasn't dark in there, and so I don't know that the atmosphere was quite what I would have wanted out of a a nerd BYOC weekend. But I mean, it's the first one. Like you gotta
Get
just
better at it, I'm sure.
Yeah, you got. I mean, you just have
Yeah.
to you have to lay out things. I'm sure you have to plan a lot of that stuff way in advance. So it was pretty cool to see a lot of people with their PCs. There was some good competition, and I mean, Austin's a cool city, so it was all around a great weekend.
I gotta ask you though, because any IHOP dining or Denny's occurring, or not really that weekend?
Not really, because there are not many places right in downtown. Like there's not a Denny's real close.
Okay.
Damn it.
And so I was actually there was one night where I was considering it, but so there's not really anything like walking distance diner style. But if you're familiar with 6th Street, where all the bars, like that's the crazy bar scene in Austin.
Yeah, that's where Drake grew up, right? Six God in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I got it.
I'll just assume I know what you're talking about.
Just say yes, Brandon. It's totally.
So when the bars close, there's like there's a bunch of like pizza vendors and like kind of street food kind of stuff that a lot of people get when once the bars close. So like there's not really a diner scene per se, but it was more just like let's wolf down this pizza to soak up the alcohol. So that unfortunately, regrettably, did not have.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean,
I
I didn't see any tweets or anything about it. I figured you would have. If
No,
Denny's or
definitely-
IHOP had happened, you would
I
have.
absolutely would have broadcast it.
us
And there
know.
actually are like some pretty good places that are like around downtown. It's not Denny's, but like there's some good diners. But it was like a 10-minute Uber, and just didn't really want to try and round up people and drive to a place. So yeah,
Okay.
next time.
Very cool. All right. I'm trying to think if I had anything super of note. My dad this weekend. My dad was in town. It was cool to see him. We hung out. He did come on my stream for a little bit on Saturday, and talked to my chat for about 50 minutes. And anyway, I get a
assume
lot
they
of
like him better than you now.
They
probably.
did. Well, they did. And also, he just drops all kinds of knowledge bombs about me growing up that I will not live down. But basically, my chat has ammo for 2 years on me from stuff my dad said. So anyway, it was really good.
We should get your dad on the podcast at some point.
Oh,
just bring
yeah,
him on.
Oh man.
I can't even imagine. You know what the funny thing is? If I asked him, he would be totally down. He'd be totally down. So I gotta be careful. But yeah, it was a really good time. Fun hanging out with him this weekend. And I do want to talk a little bit about what I played this week, though. Katie and I both do, I think, because.
Well, you
Yes.
get right into it there.
All right, let's do it. I'll start, and then Katie we can start on this. Katie,
I
you
think
can jump
we
in.
all have some good stuff to talk about here.
We do this week. So this week primarily, I played a mix of stuff, but started playing through Uncharted 4, and I don't really. So the thing, just as a bit of a prerequisite to 4, I hadn't played any of the Uncharted games up until this year. I basically binge played through 1, 2, and 3 to get caught up for 4, and I really enjoyed the series overall. I don't know, I think probably my favorite game up to this point probably was the second one, though the set pieces in 3 were crazy. But I guess story-wise, the second one was really, really solid. But I mean, Uncharted, it's just if you haven't played the Uncharted games, it's like Indiana Jones, basically, right? Meets I don't know what else, Katie. I don't know what you say. Like Indiana Jones style action movie, Michael Bay, just insane.
Yeah, like you're playing just a crazy action movie.
Crazy action movie.
Really great performances.
Yes, really solid performances. Good characters that you really come to enjoy.
Oh yeah.
So obviously the hype for 4 has been pretty palpable, and this is the first game that is actually came out for the PS4 in the series.
I couldn't fucking wait for this game. I was so hyped to play.
Yeah. So suffice it to say that obviously the hype train behind this was pretty big. Like, how are they going to top even 3? Like, after getting done with 3, I was like, what are they going to be able to do? I mean, obviously visually and stuff, like tech gets better and stuff like that. But 4, just the beginning of 4, for my money, like the start of kind of getting back into kind of what has happened with Drake up until this point. And I don't know, the first 2 or 3 hours of that game as an opener is maybe one of the greatest openers of any video game. of all time. I don't know,
Oh,
Katie,
yeah.
how you feel about it,
Oh, I
but
fucking agree. It's so good. It builds it up so well.
yeah, and gets you
To
kind of setting the pace and the story, and like, okay, now this is where Drake
yeah.
is, and I guess I don't know if this is a spoiler anymore. Can we just talk about the fact that I mean we
Uh,
could talk about it, right? Fuck, I mean
which one? Because I
the
think I'm
part.
just a bit further than you. So,
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm talking. No, I'm talking about the beginning of the game though. For the first like 2 hours, like when
oh
you
yeah, we could talk about
basically,
that.
basically,
Oh
Drake
man.
at the beginning of the story has become. He's basically tried to stop treasure hunting. He's become domesticated. He's settled with his wife, and he like basically does like salvage basically jobs, does salvage jobs, diving and stuff like that. Doesn't do treasure hunting anymore. And so there's a section where you're literally up in his office in the attic, and you basically play homemaker, not homemaker, but you play domesticated Drake. And after you get done like writing your invoices out, you stand up and you start going through the attic, and you are able to interact with all these different objects from the previous games that you played, like artifacts that
Yeah.
you found. And so it's awesome already because you're like, all right, what a nod to all the other games and all the stuff that you found. And he makes little comments on all of it. And then once you get to the end of it, you pick up like a Nerf gun, and you pretend like you're fighting bad guys
That's
upstairs. It sounds so cheesy, but it
yeah.
works all so well. And then kind of your wife calls you downstairs for dinner, so you go downstairs, and you have dinner, you talk. And by the way, that whole section, the acting, I feel like in that whole section is just fantastic. It's like
Oh yeah.
really well done. Um,
I think Elena coming from
Elena,
the first game, she has
yes,
gotten so much better
she has stepped her game
as an
up
actress.
a
Yeah.
ton. Yeah, she's a really good act. I forget her last name is Fisher. I know that, the actress who plays her, but I'm just gonna claim relation because she's really good in this. And you end up basically after the
Oh
meal.
man.
She challenges you to a game, to play a game to try to beat her high score, and you sit down on the couch, and you notice that there's a PlayStation underneath of the television, and the PlayStation, you boot up
PlayStation
the
1.
PlayStation, and what do you play but the very first level of Crash Bandicoot 1 inside of the game,
Yeah.
not with your dual analog sticks. You have to play
Yeah,
with
that's right.
which is also a nice little nod because the dual analog stick didn't come out, or that controller didn't come out for multiple years after the PlayStation was out. And it's just, and as
And
you're
the whole
doing, I don't
time
know.
he's commenting like,
Yeah.
I have to run towards the camera. Like, man, this loading time is really, really long.
Yeah, and it's so
And like,
self-aware, and it's funny because and the joke, if you haven't played the Uncharted series, is that you like during the sections, there's a lot of sections, kind of Indiana Jones or Crash Bandicoot, like where you're running away from a rolling boulder or a truck chasing you or something else. So like even when I was streaming, it would be like, all right, well here comes the Crash Bandicoot section of the game, and they just, I mean, they really did, and kind of just to give a little background, watching a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that they filmed for this. On the Sony YouTube channel, they were talking about how with this Uncharted, it was like, if anything that we want to put into the game, we have to put it into this one because we don't know if we're ever going to make another game. And it really, and that could feel, I feel like, I mean, they pulled it off. We can talk more about like as the gameplay because it's fucking, and how it looks and the engine. It's,
oh my god, it looks stupid.
Katie Zane, go ahead. Talk about how good the game looks because
It's just, I didn't want to say that like a PS4 game would be one of the best like looking games I've ever played, but it just the foliage, and what's so crazy is that it keeps a stable frame rate towards all this. I think the one thing I don't like is that there is a lot of mandatory like motion blur that you can't turn off, and I think I was like the only one that was affected by it. I don't know if you had a problem with it at all.
I didn't really notice it. No, I mean, and honestly, what they pulled out, I was even doing jokes. Obviously, this is a PC gaming podcast, but I was doing jokes because honestly, the game is so just stunningly beautiful in so many parts, and throughout the whole time, the animations, everything. I was like, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, PC gaming's fucking dead. Look at the power of the PS4. It's fucking incredible. I mean, I was kidding, but honestly, it is to me, this game. I mean, I haven't finished it yet. I'm up to chapter 12 or 13, but from what I've played so far, this game is and should be a PS4 system seller, 100%.
Oh,
I mean, I've even seen people saying that like I don't have a PS4, but I just want to buy it for this game. And I honestly don't think, from what I played so far, that you could really go wrong, because it really is something that you have to experience. I mean, the power that they pulled out of the system, the engine, the visuals, the animations, the characters, the acting, everything. I mean, honestly, I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know, Katie, you haven't finished it either. You're getting close to the end.
I think I'm just like a couple chapters more than you. I just like some of the set pieces.
Yeah.
Like some of the plot twists are so good. I don't know. You played the you were in Madagascar, right?
Yes, I played through
Oh my
Madagascar.
God, that
Yep.
whole
The whole section,
ending sequence to it is
the
so
motorcycle
mind-blowing.
chase and
Yeah,
chasing the
yeah.
truck, and
And you like throw the grappling hook and you're like sliding on the ground and it's
it's
just so mind-blowing. And
it
then
absolutely is.
you're coming up on one of the biggest plot twists.
I'm
That one.
excited.
It's
I'm
really good.
excited. I haven't had anything spoiled yet. I've been staying free of everything just to experience
Yeah.
it. So yeah, this week I'll hopefully maybe tomorrow I'll finish the game up. But do you know how many chapters? I think it's 22. People were telling me, or 24.
I'd assume around there because the other ones were.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncharted, Bloodborne, definitely another system seller.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I can't. I mean, and the thing is, like after three really stellar games, I mean, not and obviously like The Last of Us. I mean, Naughty Dog truly. It's hard to. I guess it's. The hardest competition I think for when you've been as successful as studios Naughty Dog has is to keep up with the success, right? Like,
oh yeah, exactly.
And for them to release something like this that like even though we're expecting a lot, and then I'm still sitting there and I'm like, I'm playing Crash Bandicoot inside of fucking Uncharted 4 in this whole scene that's just like blowing my mind with nostalgia and all the other games, and like there's like emotional bits. There's like honest like as much as Uncharted is action movie kind of, like insane set pieces where you're like that shit would never happen. Like you can joke about the realism, and I mean they kind of embrace that in a lot of ways. You care about the characters at the core, right? You really care about the characters.
Oh yeah.
And there's some like hard, like kind of like choke up scenes, because it's exploring the relationship between Drake and his wife and stuff like that, and his brother, and you're just like, I mean, the game really does have it all. I know it sounds like an ad for Uncharted 4, but it truly you can't oversell how good the game is. I don't think you can.
Yeah, for sure. And like, how great is it that his brother being played by Troy Baker, such like an all-star cast. It's so good.
And I
like
wanted to, I'm so sick of Troy Baker just because he's so overexposed and in every game, but fuck is Troy Baker good. And I didn't even, I knew that he was in the game, but I didn't initially register because I wasn't looking at the cast. I knew he was in it. I didn't register that it was the brother. I didn't know that ahead of time until I watched the stuff and I was like, fucking Troy Baker. He's so good. I can't hate on, and you're right. He's so good. He is. So,
but yeah, really fucking entertaining, beautiful, jaw-dropping, I would say.
Do you want you want any consoles, Brandon? You probably don't.
I have an Xbox One.
You need to get a PS4 and play Uncharted. I play through the Uncharted series. I'm telling you, Brandon.
Oh yeah,
it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those series that I mean, everyone. It's very rare you hear someone talk about those games and say they didn't like it. Like it's one of those almost universally acclaimed games, kind of like the GTA series, right? Like even if you don't enjoy GTA as like your main game, you play through it and you're just like, this is a masterpiece, like what they do with it. And I feel like I always hear the same things about Uncharted, but yeah, unfortunately I haven't owned a PlayStation in a while.
Yeah. But I guess, and for a while, like I've had a PS4 and I played a couple things, and I don't have an Xbox One, but I'm definitely excited. I'm glad about my choice. Like for me, Uncharted 4 has vindicated. Not that I mean, I think the PS4 has some good games on it, but anyway, I was like, I'm so glad I had a PS4 for when Uncharted 4 dropped because I would be really bummed if I was playing it right now and was having to watch.
I just use my Xbox as a media machine, so it's been good for that. But I don't really play games on it at all.
Yeah.
I think if I
hopefully one day they'll release these for PC, but I don't think they will. But I wish they would.
I don't know,
because like it's one of those games I would definitely play it, but like I'm not, like you were talking about it being a system seller. That's just not like, I'm not going to buy a system just for one game, especially when it's when I don't really play console games that much anyway.
Sure.
Like it's kind of a shame that they don't release those on PC when the architecture is now makes that a lot easier.
Yeah. Anything else to say on Uncharted? Sorry, before.
I kind of want to like say some negatives.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Wait, actually, no. I don't think I was gonna say a negative. I was gonna talk about the gameplay, and I think it was cool how it like drew some inspiration from, say, like Metal Gear Solid with like the whole like seeing being able to mark enemies, which I think being able to mark enemies is really unnecessary. I feel like they could have not put that in.
You don't really need it, but it is a nice touch. I mean,
but the whole stealth thing now, and like being able to, like, if someone's seeing you, you're not immediately fucked. You can like make up for your mistake. Like just giving you flashbacks to like the first level in Uncharted 2. when you had to sneak that one place.
Oh my God!
Nothing
Yes,
like
the whole
that.
sneak place was a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so things like that, and the AI honestly, I feel like has been vastly improved. I don't feel like I'm shitting on the AI as much anymore. They do stuff like they will try to flank you. You will get situations
all the time.
Yeah. So, because that's been one thing in the Uncharted series, kind of, I think it's gotten a little bit better as the games went on. But I mean, the AI on like normal difficulties, or even I don't even know if it's higher. They probably just had like better aim in some of the higher difficulties. But we're just notoriously just kind of dumb. And so like I felt like they would beat you with just general like amount of enemies and not them actually, doing anything smart. And in this game, they definitely are pretty smart. So,
but yeah, we'll definitely have to try the multiplayer.
Yeah, definitely. I forgot. Yeah, you have it too. We should give it a try. Absolutely, this week at some point.
Awesome.
Give that a whirl. So I played a bunch of that. I'm trying to think anything else besides that of note. I mean, I know this is a PC gaming podcast, and we've just played Uncharted 4.
We'll get a dose of PC gaming here in a second.
We will, yes, with yours, Brandon. Indeed. Anything else, Katie, that you played this week?
I played the Overwatch beta when it was out.
Oh, yes.
Is that the first time you've played Overwatch?
Yes,
I did as
it was
well.
the first time.
Okay, what did you think?
Well, I was lucky enough to play with a friend who had put like 12 hours into it, so he was like teaching me the ropes. I mainly played. I stuck to like easy stuff like Reinhardt, because I had to play with a controller for like majority of the time, because like have I told you about like how I have like a fused bone in my arm, so playing like keyboard and mouse, it gets like really strenuous on my like wrist. So I had to play with the controller. So Reinhardt I thought was like pretty easy for that.
So you're playing on a controller against PC players, so you need a player that you can
I mean I
play move around.
Yeah, every other game I'd play the keyboard and mouse to play like Widowmaker, which sniping felt really fucking fun that game. But I couldn't play it for like 3 hours in a row. Like it would just hurt too much. But I thought it was really, really good. I thought the maps were really good.
Agree more. Cannot agree more.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick it up day one. Just I'm not really. Maybe it's just how I am. Like I know I haven't put like hundreds of hours into a certain multiplayer game. Like I feel like if a game doesn't have single player, it's kind of like not really a selling point for me. Or it's like, I don't know. It's tough, but I'm definitely gonna pick it up on sale. It's something where I'd have to play with friends. I would never solo queue in that game. So but the game does do a lot of cool stuff for solo queue players, where like in the beginning when you're picking your team, it'll say like you need more support, you need like more offensive champions, heroes, whatever. So little stuff like that is cool. I don't like how there's not a scoreboard when you press tab. I feel like that's just an oversight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it seems like they're not going to add that, but also it sort of it definitely emphasizes team play, because like you don't get a glance at like your specific stats really until the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. They do
so
that.
I can
like
sort of understand like conceptually what they're going for,
but then at the same time they have the play of the game, which the only people that are going to be getting it are like I was getting like 2 triple kills in a game as Reinhardt with this ult and everything, but then it comes to like anyone. I feel like whatever character has the turret, I feel like that needs to be nerfed.
Oh,
yeah, that's
God,
actually
Bastion. Don't get me started.
That's like the that is the meme of the week.
Is it really?
It's just like basically anything, like everything is play of the game Bastion, and so like there's like
if you play Bastion, just go fuck yourself. I can honestly say I never played that character once. I played almost every other character, but again, I know I'm just getting on my high horse. But
it's like
so frustrating.
That's one of the weird things is Bastion. Bastion is one of those characters that has been sort of a problem since the alpha, and they've tweaked things, but it's like it just doesn't feel good to die to to someone who's like basically camping, and it's one of those like it's a character that doesn't seem that strong in competitive, because if you have a team that's working together, it's not difficult to kill him, but in a pub it is just not fun.
No,
right?
It's not.
You get a Bastion or 2 on the other team in the right spot, and it can be very difficult to do anything against them. And then like anytime someone like a Bastion or a Torbjorn gets to play the game, you're just like, come on now.
Yep. The fucking and again, I mean, it definitely can be if you're playing. I feel like that is most glaring if you're not playing with a full. I mean, because Overwatch played a bunch last week and this week, or before the beta was over, and you know, if you're not playing with a full crew of 6 or whatever, or even if you have like 3 people and you don't have the teamwork going, 2 bastions on the other team, like good fight. If they're good, you know what I mean? You don't have the coordination to kind of take that down. And I feel like that's where it really is glaring, where you're just like, this is not fun. Like I'm focused on my attention, killing that. And then in the meantime, the other. So Overwatch, definitely, I mean, it makes sense. Like you need to have people to play with. Even playing with like 3 people, I was getting super frustrated. And so I was trying to basically play with a full party, which you can't always do at all times.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Even with 3 or 4 people, I feel like you can, like, as long as your other teammates can sort of fit in, you know, somewhere where they're not like all going, you know, characters that don't make sense with your lineup. Like, you really just need to be able to coordinate enough to have like a consolidated push, right, and just not, you know, basically not run in 1 by 1 and get killed. And they've made a bunch of changes over the course of the beta. Like, they did make some changes to Bastion. I'm not sure it's perfect yet, but they do seem to be willing to take some risks, like, and make some heavy changes. So I actually have not played much Overwatch in the past month, just because I sort of got beta fatigue, that like things are just constantly changing, and like I've already pre-ordered it, which I rarely do, but it's a game that I've really enjoyed when I've played. But I want to play a more solidified version of it. Like, I'm willing to let everyone else, you know, continue testing, continue messing around with the meta. Like, I want to get good at it once things are actually a little more solid,
settled. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I came into this. I didn't play in the alpha. I only played in the open, and I came into this super wanting to be super jaded and like, shut up about Overwatch. How fun can it be? And then I got. I mean, within the first 3 hours, like, and played a lot of the characters, and I was like, I totally understand. It just has that. Overwatch has the it factor for me just instantly, and that's hard. That's not something that's easily replicated, or you know, or you can totally put your finger on exactly why. Overwatch borrows from so many. Like, I feel like they borrowed sprays from Counter-Strike. They borrowed, you know, you've got there's just so many different things in that game. That work together, and obviously, like you said, there's definitely issues and things they're going to have to work out. But at the core, I was just like, for the most part, most of the time, I'm just having fun. And the games are so quick, and it cycles. Like, you don't, even if you do take a crushing loss, you don't have to sit. It's not like I played 30 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like it's over pretty quick. So I think it was really impressive. And I'm definitely going to be buying. I won't be buying the $80 or whatever version, but I'll buy the $40 version when it comes out. And
it's got that Blizzard polish. I think it does. Like, just even in the closed and open betas, like, I have not run into anything that would tell me that game is not ready to be a shipped product. Like, just in terms of the performance, the art. Like, I have not run into any major glitches. Like, it's just, you know, that Blizzard level of quality with just the game itself. I think from the closed and open beta, like, it just looks like it's ready. Maybe not balance wise, but like the game itself. The technical aspects all seem really good.
Definitely.
I just have one crippling complaint about Overwatch.
Yes.
I hate the box art. How are you going to have this great cast of characters and then put Tracer on a plain white background as like the poster girl?
Yeah.
I hate it.
I mean, that's a fair...
They really do lean heavy into Tracer from the marketing aspect.
They love Tracer.
They do,
which is kind of a shame, because, like, I mean, fine, Tracer's like, you know, cute British girl,
no,
but I feel like they've got a lot of good personalities there that I feel like they're not really utilizing.
I just want giant Winston.
You want Winston to be the poster child? Yeah,
much more attractive.
They know. Look, they're pushing the Tracer source filmmaker movies. They're trying to. Okay, if you don't know what that is, just search the internet. But
it's like I feel like every time I see something from their Twitter account, it says "Cheers, love." And it's like, all right, how many times are we gonna do this?
How many times are we gonna nod to? Yeah, exactly, exactly.
There is. I have to definitely think. I think this game has one of the best communities for their generous contributions using characters like Tracer, characters like Diva, characters like Widowmaker.
Yes.
Just some excellent
contributions.
Artwork.
Definitely, very respectful and honoring contributions the community has made with those characters. Definitely taking very strong female characters and putting them in very strong positions. I guess I will say. But
There's
yeah.
already been some pretty good Overwatch cosplay too.
Oh yeah. Well, this game's going to be. I'm sure we're going to see some really good stuff from there. Okay. Katie. Anything else, Katie? Before I jump, because I know Brandon wants to talk about Doom. And I
I
want to
played
talk.
one more thing. I played Pokken Tournament on the Wii U. It's really fun.
Ah,
If you ever
okay.
get a Wii U, definitely pick that up. That actually outsold Street Fighter V in sales on console at least.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's all.
All right. Brandon, talk to me about Doom. How good is it? The single player, obviously.
Yeah, so I decided to pick up Doom. Bought it for full price, which is something I don't normally do with games these days. But went ahead and bought it full price. It's like a 50 gig download or something. It's pretty big. But yeah, so we've talked about the Doom multiplayer during the beta weekend, and definitely had some concerns with that. And I haven't actually played multiplayer in the real game yet, but I played through the single player campaign this weekend and actually just finished it like right before the cast. And I think it is really, really good. Like, it is. I don't actually know what more I would have wanted from a Doom single player game in 2016. Like, I think that they basically hit everything that I would want. Now, I don't think they could do the same. I don't think they could do the same thing, like, and put out another Doom in a couple years, because like this game, it's like a good and bad thing. It's a bad thing if they want to try and make more money off the Doom franchise, in the near future, which I'm not sure how they're going to do that. But like a standalone current day Doom, it's just like it's really, really solid. There are a lot of like really, really cool little retro callbacks. Like, there are secrets in the levels. You can actually, like, I think each level has a secret where you can basically sort of bust into an old Doom level, and it's actually got the old Doom graphics and everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, it's just the right amount of nostalgia, but the rest of the game is just super solid. And from the technical aspect, like, the game is gorgeous. It runs, at least on my computer. I can only speak for my computer. It ran flawlessly. Like, I didn't crash. It is a beautiful game. It is 100%, absolutely 100% worthy of that mature rating. There is tons of gore. There's like some brutal satanic imagery, but it's like that's what you want from Doom. Like, it feels so faithful to what the original Doom was. And like the story is kind of whatever. It's not like a super engaging story necessarily, but I mean, Doom, like the original Doom, never had a real strong story.
Right.
It was
Exactly.
more about you running through hell and killing demons. And so, like, all the cast of characters is all there. You'll see a lot of, if you've played through Doom, you'll see a lot of like familiar monsters and stuff. And the game actually, like, the content was pretty long, I thought, for a Doom game. I think,
How long did the campaign take you?
I actually should have checked my Steam played, but I think it probably took me like 10, 12 hours, something like that.
Okay.
There was like a good amount of content. And they have like some an upgrade system during the game where you can upgrade the different weapons you're getting, which I thought was pretty good. So like, all of this is colored by the fact that Doom holds a very special place in my heart as sort of what got me into PC gaming in the first place. Like, when I was 7 or 8, playing a shareware copy of Doom 2. So take my my review here with a big grain of salt. But I think if Doom is something that, like, you remember if you played Doom, like the early Doom, I think this game will meet or exceed your expectations. And
I'm happy about that. I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Like, it's just
they did it.
It's really good. All the I don't think I'm really spoiling anything because they've shown these in trailers and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
they have glory kills where like a monster's almost dead and you can walk up to it and you know, depending on like where you look on the body, you do specific things to kill it, and those are just like super brutal, really satisfying. They don't really get old for most of the monsters. Just like I'm just super happy with it, and I don't have anything like I don't really have any constructive criticism, because I think like the game runs well, it plays well. I think it's got some decent replayability. I'm actually like, I probably won't do this, but I played on just the regular difficulty. They have a nightmare difficulty and then an ultra nightmare difficulty, which is nightmare difficulty, but it's permadeath. So if you die, you just have to start over, and it puts a little like marker on the map where you died.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool though.
Yeah, so like
Brutal, but
I'm
cool.
really looking forward to watching people like try and speed run without dying.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a good
God.
stream. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And like on the regular difficulty, a lot of times it wasn't like that difficult. But there are a few parts where I died. I probably died maybe, I don't know, 20 times throughout the whole game. Like it wasn't that difficult, but you definitely run low on ammo sometimes, and you have to like, you can't just use one weapon the whole time. So I think that part is pretty well balanced. Because like obviously some of the more powerful weapons, if you could just use those the whole time, that's just all you'd use. But you run out of ammo on those pretty quickly. So I had to you have to use your whole arsenal pretty much. Otherwise you'll just run out of ammo. So I like very few times where I really don't have much negative to say. Like I enjoyed the whole ride, and I don't actually care how the multiplayer is, because I think the single player
Sells the game.
That is what you buy this game for.
Yeah.
The multiplayer, like if you enjoy the multiplayer, great, that's cool. But like I think the single player is, at least for me, like it was worth $60. Really, really enjoyed it.
That's high praise from Barn Door right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we've heard you recommend something at full price in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Honestly, we'd have to go back. So
But,
I will say
that's the thing. Like I have a very strong emotional connection to this franchise.
You do.
And
Yeah.
so like I'm not saying that if you haven't played Doom, or like you don't, if you're too young to have played Doom, like it may not mean the same thing as it means to other people who don't really love Doom. But I think that's also why I had really high expectations for a game that's going to carry the Doom name. Like it's got to be like it's got to be good, but they have to kind of enhance the formula a little bit, right? Because like Doom's basic formula would be pretty aged nowadays. So
that was our biggest concern. Like, yeah, exactly right. Like, is Doom a franchise? Like, unless you kind of you can have the core. So what's amazing to me from what you're saying is they found the balance, because this is not easy to do, right? So you have the nostalgia factor. You have to please all the old Doom fans who want something, but also, like you said, there has to be enough new for there to be substance. And newer people coming in and being like, okay, this is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they did that.
I think they found, for my money, they found that balance really well. Like I think if you don't love Doom as a franchise, like I think you're not really going to probably care about all the retro callbacks and stuff, and you're not going to be like, oh, I recognize this weapon or this monster, but it's like, obviously a present day high poly version of those things. But I still think the game like absolutely delivers on, pretty fast paced arcade type shooter, where there's a story there, but like your ultimate goal is you're ripping through hell, killing everything in your path. Right. And so it's in terms of that fantasy, like I think it just works.
That's awesome. I did watch some. I didn't watch too much because I didn't want to spoil. I mean, again, like you said, story is not really what you play Doom for. But
there are still a few points where I think like it's nice to be surprised. It's not necessarily the story that matters, but it's like the situations that you wind up in, and I don't want to spoil anything for people that haven't played it. And it's not like there are any huge crazy things that when you look back on it, you'll be like, yeah, I could have predicted that. But also just the way it plays out, I think is really good. It's really good.
I was watching, I forget who I was watching play it, but they were in a pretty intense section, and like the flow of combat, with like just the power ups and then like some of the executions, and like you said, like it was literally like beautiful watching it,
Yeah.
like clearing a room. I was like, it's like almost poetic, like just
It is
gorgeous.
Yeah. It is really like it's
With
that's
the
what
gore and
it
everything.
all yeah it all feels really really tightly done. Like everything in the game, you know, the glory kills and everything, like it feels really seamless. And when you have that string of kills, like you're focusing on the game, like you are really immersed because nothing's taking you out of the game. I'm not like I I can't help but go back to like just the technical aspect of the game for being for playing it basically like day one, right? They didn't I haven't waited for like a big patch that comes out and fixes all the bugs or whatever. Like this is more or less the starting version of the game. And I'm not, you know, there's no like artifacting, there's no glitching, there's no like I felt like the game basically had the level of quality that I would have expected out of a game back in the, you know, the 90s or the early 2000s where they couldn't do a day one patch. And
Right.
so
Right.
that I really liked, that like I wasn't playing it enjoying it, but then being like, you know what, I'll give it like a week or two so that they can patch out some of the stuff, you know, some of the bugs. And I mean, hopefully other people have that same experience. I don't know if they've had any major issues, but I didn't. And playing through the whole game, just it just felt really good. And I'm running on a 970. Like I'm not. It's not top of the line. But I was running most things on high, and I think maybe a couple things on ultra, and I was running over 60 the whole time. So I'm guessing I could probably turn things up more and have an acceptable frame rate. But like it was buttery smooth the whole time. And I think multiplayer, I think I've seen that multiplayer is capped at 60 FPS, which I don't understand, and that sucks. But the single player game was not capped. So it feels really nice at, you know, 120 FPS.
Cool. All right.
But yeah,
well,
I'm
there
actually
you go.
I'm looking forward to seeing. I want you to play it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you think
Yeah,
about it.
definitely. Yeah, definitely have plans to play that. Got to finish Uncharted, and I think we'll probably do Doom. So
And I would love for Katie to
Excited.
play it, but he's not old enough.
yeah, it's definitely a little bit too.
Yeah, I
gory,
can't
maybe.
take it. It's too much.
Some adult themes.
It's not, and it's not even just the gore. Just like seriously, some of the, you know, some of the images in hell are just like, man, I can appreciate like the artistic effort that went into this, but
That's
like
fucked
some
up.
of it, I wasn't. Some of it, like you know, I'm just like a little uneasy. Like, all right, I'm not gonna sit here and stare at this thing anymore because it's actually bothering me.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, there you go. That was a nice long what we've been playing this week section, but we've some great releases: Uncharted 4, Doom.
Yeah, what a
So
time to be alive and playing games.
I know, right? Just we're gonna. Yeah, it is. It's been a great month so far. Okay, so we're gonna move on here. Do we want to talk about Community Night real quick? That is happening this Friday. I don't know what game. Do we know what game's going to be happening? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure offhand, but we're running community nights pretty often.
Yes.
Now, I think they've run the Culling, they've run Battlefield.
Yes, both those have been run.
Yeah, keep an eye on the site and hop into our Discord because there's a good chance, like on any given Friday or maybe Saturday night, like they've been running community nights pretty often, and their
People will
turnouts
be
have
playing
been
games.
their turnouts have been pretty good. So if you enjoy, if you want to come game with the community, I would say just keep an eye on the website and hop in Discord on Friday or Saturday and get some games in.
I mean, I know there's there's certain people in here. I won't name any names. Patrick Robbie, who doesn't have any online friends, and so they should definitely. This is a good place.
Yeah.
Community night's a good place to meet some
This
people.
is a great place to
And-
it's a great place to meet others from the community and make some lifelong friends.
Exactly.
I've actually
Get
met.
salty.
I mean, it's funny I say that now, but like a lot of the people that I know online these days, I've known for like probably 4+ years. Like most of the people that I
Yep.
game with now. And it's only because of like hopping in a voice server or something and starting to play with people. You never know who you're going to meet. You might end up meeting your best friend.
There you go. Or your wife, even. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or your husband, depending on how you swing.
That happens more than you think.
Yes, it
Sometimes
does.
you don't even have to go outside to
exactly.
meet people.
That's right. All right, let's jump into some news here. There's been some good news. Well, I don't know about good news. There's definitely some things to talk about.
Yeah, this is technically like it's almost 2 week old news.
Yeah,
but because we didn't have a cast last week, and then now we've gotten to see the whole situation and response unfold, and now we can just talk about it in totality instead of only having bits and pieces.
Man.
Exactly.
So we're of course talking about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Yes, we are. We are. Which at this time we're going to talk about. Obviously, the Infinite Warfare trailer came out on May 2nd on YouTube and was quickly met with some likes, but mostly dislikes. And right now, I'm just going to say it sits at 365,757 likes and 2,231,981 dislikes, which again is just impressive. Is impressive. Regardless, I don't know if that's going to necessarily mean that sales will be poor or way less than they've been in the past, because I do think there is a certain level of it's just, it doesn't, what people like or dislike YouTube videos doesn't mean that they will actually not pay money for Call of Duty. However, Katie,
and Call of Duty is always divisive. I mean,
yeah. Katie's you've been seeing at your store. You've been seeing even people that are huge Call of Duty fanboys. Katie,
do we have on the ground intel?
We have on the ground intel about what people are saying on the street. So I want Katie to go here to talk about this.
What's really great about working in like a retail store for video games is because you get to see the general
plebeians do.
Exactly, the general consensus of what is the common gamer, not the PC enthusiast that So you generally get a lot of Black Ops 3 fanatics, a lot of things like that. Everyone asking for the newest Call of Duty, and so generally, for like the following days after the trailer was announced, I was bringing up Infinite Warfare, and I would bring it up in like kind of a neutral way. Like I wouldn't really say if I was hyped, if I was disappointed, and I would wait for their response so that I could get like a general idea of what everybody was thinking.
Yeah,
and the majority of the people really are very unsatisfied, is what, if it wasn't already given away by the dislike bar. Everyone is just, it looks like, I've heard people say that they play Call of Duty for like a military experience, for like a wartime thing, and that while some people, they're like, oh man, I like Halo, so it's gonna be like Halo. I mean, I'll bet it'll be good. And then some people are like, I'm so done with sci-fi. It can be something good. But, well, I'm looking at it, and I can definitely see, at least where my hatred of this comes from, is that it's such a tired idea for a
trope,
game.
Man.
It's so used
so many times.
I'm sure this is going to come out, and it'll be a fine video game. I'm sure it's not going to be terrible.
Yeah,
but I just wish they would do something new. But I do have to say, this is much better than Ghost 2 being announced. That would have been preposterous.
I think just everything about it just feels like of course this is what they do, right? Just like stay in the course. Even the title, like Infinite Warfare, that's so like that's it's not creative. You're like, Infinite Warfare, the next frontier is clearly space.
Right.
And just like we're just always fighting. Like we're not, before the games at least had like a plot. Like you're fighting this particular enemy. But now it's just like, no, everyone's fighting everyone. It's infinite, it's space.
Yeah.
It never ends.
You love it. You love the sci-fi, Brandon.
So this is the other thing, though. I think we're missing a bigger point. Because for how long has it been a meme that Call of Duty is going to go to space, right? Like, what's next? What can they do? They're going to have to go to space. Oh, it's going to be Call of Duty Space this year. I mean, it's been joked about a lot over the last couple games, and I think it's actually brave of Infinity Ward to actually go to space, because they knew. I mean, they had to know that people were going to be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But really, where else do they have to go? I mean, they can't. They're not going to go. They're not going to go the battlefield route of going to World War I.
After this section, we'll talk about where they could have gone.
That's true. We will.
Yes.
I mean, I guess they could,
because this is actually like, it's just so funny. We're obviously the next news item, just to tease you here, is that also in the past couple of weeks, Battlefield 1
Yes.
The new Battlefield game got announced, and they are going to be in World War One. So like completely opposite directions.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, the
I mean, I get you're right. They could have. They absolutely could have. But I think you would find almost equal reaction in the negative sense to. And I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong.
That's
but
the
I
thing.
feel like people
like Call of Duty. Call of Duty could have gotten a similar reaction if they would go to World War One.
Exactly.
And then be like, oh, then people would say, oh, they're just like they're out of ideas, so they're resetting the timeline.
They can't. Honestly, my argument is nothing that they could have done was going to be a win, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they did the same thing, if they stay in the same kind of thing, it'll just be like, oh, it's just rehashing. They're not really changing any kind of like they're not going to space. They're not going back. They're just staying in the same timeline. People would be upset. They go back to World War I or World War II. People are like, yeah, they're running out of ideas. They go to space. They're like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't want to play Halo.
Yeah.
So again, I guess there is a
Definitely
certain level
damned
of
if they do, damned if they don't. But
yeah.
I think just the way this trailer came off.
No, you're right.
I think
Oh, yeah.
I think just speaks to like just a complete lack of authenticity.
Yes.
Like I feel like they could have stayed with sort of a futuristic space theme and like tackled it in a different way.
Yeah.
But this just feels like I don't know. It feels so hollow to me.
It does. It does.
They have the balls to slap on one of the worst covers of David Bowie I've ever heard in my life.
I knew you were going to get mad about that. And as I was watching the trailer, I was like, wow, they're really doing this. And then when that cover came on and I was like, ground control. I was like, oh my God, they're not. They're not.
About. That's what
they're
I'm
not
talking about.
doing
It's just like they thought, like, what is the most cliche thing we could do? And
not
they did
doing
that
it.
thing.
Oh, man.
And then,
So I do have to say, though, my favorite quote of that entire trailer is this, because they have all these like faux audio clips like from the news reports about what's happening, and one of the quotes from the reporter or whatever, he goes, "Biggest surprise attack in the history of the world. How could they have not seen it coming?" It's like, it sounds so fake. And then I'm like also thinking about what he said, and I'm like, isn't the whole point of a surprise attack is that you don't see it coming? Anyway, I thought that was so fucking fun. Like, there's so many little bits in it that it's supposed to be dramatic. You know what I mean? And it just falls so flat, and you're just like, oh, it's so forced. It's so.
That's
painful.
the thing, is I feel like if they're going into space, the narrative needs to be something that is like kind of believable. But this just doesn't feel believable at all. It just feels like, slap, like, yeah, we got to go to a different time period, and here's like some news clips from the future that don't talk about anything specific. It's just like, there's just always war. I don't know. There's no that. I'm curious to see what the single player campaign looks like for this, because it's got to be just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be super over the top. I mean, and to be fair, the COD campaigns are super over the top, and they have been, and that's part of, the Michael Bay level. And I'm sure the campaign will be, if you like that kind of stuff, like you said, Katie. I don't think this is going to be a bad game.
Yeah, Black Ops 3
it'll be fine. It's just, but we are truly getting into the point of, I mean, people, if this doesn't show, I think more than anything, the 2 million likes show a true Call of Duty fatigue. Like, honestly, and reaction to a new game coming out every year. I just people.
We talked about that. We've talked about that before, but this, I think, this is actually the real public reaction of kind of a backlash. Like the most disliked trailer on YouTube. That, like, even for Call of Duty, that is new, right?
That is.
Like, there are always people that don't like those things, but I can't remember a time where there was like almost universal disdain for this, like, this idea.
Would you say there's infinite disdain?
Well, I set that one up for you.
That was good. I mean,
But
and
it gets
also,
worse.
it gets worse. Go ahead, Katie. Talk about how it gets worse.
This is the real travesty.
Yes.
We haven't even gotten into the real travesty here.
Oh God. So everything was looking dim for Call of Duty.
Yes.
It's like, not even to mention next year. We're probably going to be locked in. We'll get Advanced Warfare 2. But at the very end of the trailer, we get a glimpse at Modern Warfare Remastered. We're not talking about just a bump up in... We're not talking about, like... not just, like, bumped up in, like, resolution, anything like that. They showed some really... In the presentation I, like, watched live. I mean, it's because I was expecting the worst. But they had some really nice shots of like showing the old areas from the campaign and the multiplayer maps, like being completely redone and looking really beautiful. This in Call of Duty 4 pumped up, and that was really exciting. But then, lo and behold, uh, there was a frequently asked questions page on on Activision's website, I believe, saying, "Can I play Modern Warfare Remastered without buying Call of Duty Infinite Warfare?" Responding, "No. You must own Call of Duty Infinite Warfare in order to get Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. You cannot buy the game on its own. I believe you have to buy, what is it, the $80 deluxe edition to get it, correct? Just an absolute
It's like a
middle
bad
finger.
joke. It's
Yeah,
It, it's bad.
yeah.
It's all. I mean, it's a bad joke in the sense that it is, and it's. I guess it's doing more of like you can't write how cliche and bad of a joke it would be, like for them. Like it's so bad that it has to be real. I guess, and that's what it is. It's fucking real, and to me, do you think there's going to be any movement? So with the backlash, do you think they're just going to hold the course here? Do you think anything's going to change out of this?
No, I don't think so because I think it's
yeah.
calculated. It's just that
Oh,
it's
it is.
like
Yeah.
it's just that it's so transparent, right? Like here's my thought is they look at this game, sorry, I have a fan behind me now and it's noisy. So I think like here's what I imagine going on in Activision HQ is they see the idea for Infinite Warfare and they're like, that doesn't seem super inspired. So we need to make sure we sell copies of this game. So what's your other idea? And at a certain point, they're just like, well, people love COD 4. Like we could, we've been ticking around with like a remastered version of COD 4. We could bundle that in and force people to buy Infinite Warfare. And they're like, yep, you know what? Yeah, do that. Do that because we have sales numbers to hit. So if they don't like Infinite Warfare, they'll buy it anyway to get the Modern Warfare remaster. That's what I imagine happening.
And honestly, from like the retail perspective, it's fucking Call of Duty. People are gonna buy the shit out of it no matter what they pump out. Like,
It
and
just feels so
that's just a
it
sad
feels so
fact.
brazen to me to say, hey, COD 4 fans, here's your nostalgia, it costs $80.
Yeah.
It comes with the newest
Yeah.
version. Like there's nothing stopping them from just putting this out and saying, you know what, we want the Call of Duty 4 that lives on to be like a real proper version for today's today's systems. They could do that, but they're not. It's going to become like it's going to be the same as every other Call of Duty, where because it's bundled in, like it's never going to have a real community. It's going to get run over by next year's version. Like it feels so throwaway when it shouldn't.
It hurts. What are they
Yeah.
scared it's gonna sell better than Infinite Warfare?
I think they're beyond the fact that they know that they're going to get people to buy that $80 version because of the packaging, because they want to play the remastered version. I do think they're afraid that game and the nostalgia for that game would 100% cannibalize sales on their new franchise. And like you said, I mean that's in their mind, this is a win-win-win regardless of what, because at the end of the day, they have you over a barrel, and like you said, Katie, people are going to buy it no matter what. They really are.
Yeah.
I don't think we're to the point. I mean, even with the dislikes and the 2 million and all that stuff, at the end of the day, these same people that are so passionate and vocal right now are going to bend over and they're going to pay $80 and they're going to play it.
But here's the thing, though. Like, I would buy a COD 4 remaster. But you know what? I'm not going to buy it bundled in with Infinite Warfare for $80. Right.
Well, they know that you wouldn't buy Infinite Warfare probably, and they know that you would just buy.
Right, exactly.
So that's what they
exactly. So like that's the thing is I think their strategy is not a bad one. It's just that like it doesn't. It is so purely Activision is that you can see the levers they have to pull to get the kind of numbers that they want to get out of a Call of Duty release.
Right.
And it's like transparent, but like that's the way they work. Is they like you don't love Activision, but if you want this certain product they have, you pay it anyway.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it not only sucks for the consumer who wants to play Modern Warfare Remastered and has to shell at $80, it also sucks for the game because it's really going to hurt the population because all the people that are playing it are people that have to shell out that money. So the population's going to suck for multiplayer.
That's the thing that sucks is like that's the thing that feels super super hollow to me is that they're not doing it out of a love for Call of Duty 4 and wanting to like, wanting to remaster a version of the game that like, most people really love.
Right.
They're doing it to prop up sales of the next game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that sucks, is like that game could just become the new Call of Duty 4, right? The people that play Call of Duty 4 now, if you put out a remastered version, you probably just turn that into the version that people play. And no one plays old COD 4 because there's a new one. But now that's not going to happen. The people that are playing COD 4 today, they're still going to keep playing old COD 4 because they're not going to spend $80 just to get a remastered version of that game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, so we have to go a little bit. One more thing to say on this before we jump into the Battlefield announcement. The Activision CEO has responded to the negative responses that they've seen on social media. And Eric Hirschberg has said that we've seen this in the franchise before. And he's not totally wrong if you take a look at previous trailers as the games have continued to evolve. It does seem like the dislikes have gone up as the franchise has gotten more popular and there's been more sequels. However, there has definitely been nothing on this level, and so I love the kind of spin. And I mean, this is his job. Obviously, he's got to do this, but
this is some solid CEO spin.
This is some solid CEO spin game, though. Like, you got to respect it. He goes, first of all, you gotta love the passion of gamers. This is an industry so starts off praising the very people that are shitting on his product. This is an industry like no other, and a fan base like no other. Just fucking right now, he's got your balls in his mouth, and he's just sucking on them. And right now he's going to put the shaft in. We love that our fans treat this franchise like their own and have such strong points of view about it, right? He's fucking blowing you hard now. And so then now he strokes his own cock a little bit. There just aren't many entertainment franchises on Earth that can generate this kind of passion that Call of Duty can, and that's a good thing. So secondly, of course, we know there are people in our community who are nostalgic for the boots on the ground style gameplay. That's why we made Modern Warfare Remastered. But we also have millions of people in our community who want to have a new innovative experience in the game each year, and Infinity Ward is going to deliver that. So anyway, so it's a pretty good spin. He goes on to talk about it, but he sees that delivering all this in one package is keeping the community together, right, and not splintering the community.
That's the thing that feels like not, I don't know, like that part of the spin doesn't work for me.
No, because
those aren't like saying you're going to keep the community together. You're not. They're two different games, right? Yeah. And like bundling them into the same game, like you'll just make it so there is no community probably in either, right? Like you have the opportunity with COD 4 Remastered and Infinite Warfare to have like both of those have distinct communities, and both of them could potentially, live on their own. But now you've signed one or the other to a death sentence, depending on which one's better. And it's probably going to be COD 4 Remaster because it's only with the certain version of the game.
Yeah,
exactly.
And here's the quote that really kills me.
Yes, Katie, go ahead.
It says from the CEO, "We have more people playing Black Ops 3, a game that takes place in the future with boost jumps and fictitious weapons, than any game in our history." That really doesn't do it for me, because it's the newest Call of Duty, and everyone's going to be playing the newest Call of Duty, regardless of like what's in it, because it's the newest one. Not because they love the future setting and everything. Sure. It doesn't. Sure. It's because it's the newest one. Come on.
Well, I thought you were going to say this part. This is my favorite part, where he can't keep the Satan inside right here. He goes, so he says all this nice stuff, and then he goes, "While of course we see the passionate opinions online, we also see other measurements, and the fact is," right here it comes. Satan's coming out. He can't keep him in for too long. "While it's very early," wait for it, "pre-orders are off to a very strong start. Views of the reveal trailer are up, and in fact, the number of likes per view on the Infinite Warfare trailer are the highest we've ever seen." So right here, all you need to know, for them, again, and obviously this is his job. His job is to sell pre-orders and make sure that the revenue is up. So all that, and this is what's so funny about this, is he's trying to do spin, but at the end of the day, pre-orders are off to a very strong start, and this is doing exactly what they wanted it to do. And so all this other stuff be damned. I mean, and again, this is his job, but that's it. And it's about selling the game and getting as many people to buy this game, no matter what, whether it's strong arming people or not. So there you go. Even good old Eric, you know, he can only keep it in for so long. He's got to mention pre-orders.
The funny thing is, though, that because like they embed images on this this article, which came out May 5th, and at the time of the screenshot, there was only like, it was like a 50-50 like to dislike ratio, like 140, exactly. 140,000 likes and roughly the same number of dislikes. Yes. Since then, the number of likes has doubled, but the number of dislikes is now as like 10x'd.
Yep.
And so that's actually like, that's interesting because the sentiment actually got worse like after this article, like continued nosediving to now be like solidly like almost, I don't know, what is that, 80+% dislikes? That's crazy.
Yeah. There's a great comment here on the IGN article from Ill Blue. Blames innovation, still uses a modified id Tech engine from 1999.
Wow. Shots fired. Yes. So anyway, yeah. So this is so much Call of Duty talk.
Like it's kind of it really is a shame though, because like I would definitely get a COD 4 remaster just to for the same reason that I would get Doom, right? For the same reason that I spent $60 on Doom before really knowing if it was going to be great or not. Like I have very fond memories of COD 4. I would buy a remaster just to stroll through that world again on a current day PC. Play the multiplayer again with an active community, at least for the first few months. But it's a shame that they're bundling this in with Infinite Warfare, especially because like the people are buying 2 games at once. So if you think about like what is someone going to play when they first get it, they're probably going to play the Infinite Warfare, and so like your day one, is there going to be any community on those COD 4 remaster servers?
Let's see.
Right, because like everyone who owns the COD 4 remaster will also own Infinite Warfare, and so like which one is the one you play? I'm guessing for most people probably Infinite Warfare. So like day one, are those COD 4 remaster servers? Is anyone going to be in there? That's my fear. Like that's why
you think you play the shiny new thing. I mean,
that's why I'm not going to buy it, because that's already Call of Duty's problem. Where after 6 months or so, like the servers on the PC. Typically, there's like not many people playing. I know it's a different story on console, but like that's the thing that concerns me, is that we already know that Call of Duty has a very limited lifespan because the next one's coming out. But then now you're bundling like 2 games into one, and you still know there's another one's gonna come out next year. So like, I don't think you're going to get any time with that remastered version in the way that you want to play it. Like, there's probably not going to be very many people in those servers. And frankly, I hope I'm wrong, because like, if it does end up having an active community, maybe I'll pick this up on sale, later down the line. But day one, I think that the people that are buying it for the remaster, those people probably end up getting screwed.
Yeah. So let's move on here to talk a little bit about. We can't talk about Call of Duty without talking the Battlefield announcement and
complete 180 in terms of public sentiment.
Yes, totally a 180 in terms of public sentiment. And how did you? So, and I'm not going to ask you guys. What do you think? So, I'm not a Battlefield. I don't. This doesn't necessarily change anything for me. I've never really been a Battlefield fan other than Bad Company 2. I really like Bad Company 2 a lot.
God, yeah. That's the only negative here, is that this Battlefield 1 is not Bad Company 3.
Right,
that is the negative.
Yeah, exactly. But what is your guys' take? Like you said, public sentiment. People definitely very excited.
Yeah, the reveal for this had over 500,000 viewers on Twitch.
Yeah, it was
nuts. Which is like basically unprecedented for a reveal like this.
Yep. Yeah, it was insane.
They had a pretty cool presentation too. Like they went through all the other Battlefields.
Yeah,
it was cool.
So obviously the setting, it's Battlefield 1 is what the game's going to be called. It's set during World War I, and so yeah, Battlefield. It's going back. They're taking it. They're not going to the future. We're going back.
We haven't really had like many World War I games. I mean, I'm
No.
sure there's some, right? But I can't think of any of the major franchises that have really hit World War One. For a long time, we had a ton of World War Two games, but World War One is definitely rarer, and like Battlefield has never really gone there. So I think it's not surprising to me that people would be excited for this, because this does kind of tread new ground for Battlefield.
Yeah.
And I think gives them an opportunity to change the game in fundamental ways, right? Because like the way that Battlefield 4 plays, you don't have like warfare was very different in World War One compared to like present day battlegrounds. So I'm excited because I think they will have to change some of the things to more realistically reflect what World War One warfare was like. And that is exciting to me, because I don't think many franchises have really done that. Because even World War II, World War II had a lot of the modern things that we use in war today.
Right.
Whereas
right.
World War I was sort of like not quite there yet. And so like I'm excited to see if there's like maybe a little bit more emphasis on melee fights, or like, I don't know. I feel like there's some places you can be creative.
They can yeah, you're right. There's definitely some room for kind of newer gameplay elements, and because of the theater that it's set in. I do want to say, despite all the excitement for this, like we have to remember, like I know people have very short-term memories, and I'm not someone that was even really affected. I just was affected by being on the podcast and listening to people tell me every single week that Battlefield is still broken, and this is absolutely insane. So we have to remember, and you hope, right? You got to hope that DICE at this point has learned from kind of what went down with was it Battlefield 4 that was super broken, or 3?
It was kind of both.
It was kind of both. It was at different times. But
4 was more
like,
broken than it should have been for being kind of iterative on 3.
Exactly, and it was for like 6 months to a year there was still constant issues with it. So I'm definitely like, again, this is I'm not saying I won't, depending on how the game ends up turning out, I may end up picking it up, but I'm definitely not going to be like a day one adopter of Battlefield 1 until I see how kind of the dust settles a bit. So let's remember who we're dealing with, though. Like you said, public sentiment definitely they had a better week and day.
Yeah, and they did confirm that there will be a server browser, which it's amazing that in 2016 that's like a news article by itself, that Battlefield 1 will have a server browser. But
right.
I think like I think a lot of the stuff that they have, the infrastructure they have in place now with Battlefield 4 and being able to see the map on your browser and stuff. I think like all of that stuff is definitely like better than it used to be, and so if they can keep the level of polish that Battlefield 4 now has, which is like pretty polished, like I'm excited for this game, because I think that Battlefield 4, like you've gotten a lot of, if you've been playing Battlefield 4 since launch, granted yes it's been like kind of buggy and stuff throughout its history, but like I think you've probably gotten your money's worth. Like that game has had a pretty good lifespan. And if you were a Battlefield Hardline purchaser, not so much. But
yes.
But like I think Battlefield 4 has had a pretty good run, and by the time Battlefield 1 comes out, like I think you look back at Battlefield 4 and 3 before it, and you're like, all right, yeah, those are like pretty good games. And Battlefield 1 looks like it will carry the torch in that same way, and I like. As far as trailer hype goes, like I think this is about the most you're gonna get. Like it looks exciting, new theater, new weapons. It's for me, it's a very different feeling than looking at Call of Duty and being like, oh, okay, yeah, you went into space. Here's like a cliche song that everyone knows associated with space. Like the Battlefield 1 trailer felt a lot more, I don't know, just a lot more like raw and passionate. Is that just me?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, as far as presentation goes, you're definitely spot on. So I guess we'll see how it goes.
And I'm sure Battlefield's still going to do the same, like scummy. If you pre-order, you get this particular weapon or whatever. Like they will. Their business practices can still probably be
You're going to get a live carrier pigeon to carry your war bond messages to whoever you need to send. Like.
Yeah,
who knows?
I'm sure
But,
it's not. I'm sure it's not going to be without its faults. But
Yeah.
but like it's just funny the timing of it all, where like they literally Battlefield and Call of Duty both have these big announcements for new games the same week, and just contrasting the two.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's pretty amazing.
that's
Definitely.
awesome.
Definitely pretty crazy week for both those franchises. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the Nvidia 1080 and 1070 video cards that got announced. Again, this was,
Yeah.
I guess, on May 6th.
This
I
was
guess so. We're
they
a
actually
little
this was like during DreamHack.
yes,
Because it was like, but not, it wasn't like at DreamHack. It was like their own thing. But it was in Austin that same weekend, and they had like a big announcement. Basically, the meat and potatoes here is that they've announced two new video cards, the GTX 1080 and GTX 1070, and pretty much like both are monster cards. I think at this point, like it's probably if you were about to click purchase on a new PC, maybe hold off now, because the 1070 is more or less taking the spot of the 970 as far as price goes, but it's a lot faster. The GTX 1080 is $600, so basically taking the spot of the 980, but it is faster than a Titan X, which I mean is
Wow.
like
for the price.
is just crazy.
I mean,
like it is
crazy.
just crazy. So I think that we saw the same thing with the 900 series, but like I don't know how they have continued to make such strong gains on these cards. But the GTX 1070 is going to just raise the bar for everything. Like all of the builds across the board, more or less, won't move in price. They'll just be way better. So I'm probably going to try and find maybe someone to buy my 970 at some point and see if someone wants to SLI their 970s.
Yeah.
But I think the 1070 is going to be the sweet spot, and then the 1080, if you have a little more money to burn, like the 1080 is going to be a monster. And I'm sure at some point they'll probably have like a 1080 Ti or something that is just even crazier. But I think universally everyone was like pretty impressed at the performance gains that they're claiming for this price. So
Yeah, I'm interested to see what a 1060 would be like, because that would be a really killer budget option
yeah.
if there's anything to do with the other two.
Yeah, so I will be curious to see what AMD responds with here, because like Nvidia absolutely pissed in their Cheerios on this one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's
And they actually have, like, this is unrelated, but like Nvidia announced pretty solid profits and stuff. Like they're actually pretty healthier as a business than they have been in recent memory. So they're firing on all cylinders right now.
definitely big moves being made by DICE and Nvidia, AMD, and Call of Duty. Maybe they should.
so
You know what I think they need to do? I think the Call of Duty franchise and Activision should package AMD video cards with their $80 copy of Infinite Warfare. Brandon, hear me out on this, and really push for that PC market buy. Maybe you can get,
really
I don't
bundle.
know, start bundling this stuff together, and then maybe help AMD out, and also help kind of the perception of Call of Duty at this point. I think those are two brands that have taken a pretty big hit over these past couple years. So.
That is, that's not.
And
a
on
bad
the other
idea.
side, Battlefield and Nvidia should get together. I mean, they already, I guess,
Really,
I think
just like basically escalate the arms race, like bring it into the hardware game,
into the hardware sphere. Exactly. I think that would be
really force you to pick.
God.
The 1080 will launch on May 27th, so that's in a couple weeks. The 1070 is launching on June 10th. I don't know if those are actually like if you'll be able to get one on those days. But they are coming out pretty soon. So at least in terms of our build guides for June, we'll probably try and wait until these are out, because there's not been a whole lot of movement in the hardware space until these happen, and then that kind of changes everything. So you will be able to get your hands on one of these pretty soon.
All right, let's jump into
one more thing. This
Yep.
is just like a funny anecdote that. Yeah. Talking about like Nvidia profits, they must have spent a ton of money on
yes.
their reveal, because we went to, they had like a party after their reveal thing. So I wasn't at the reveal event, but they had a party afterwards. It was like general admission, anyone could go. So we go to this party, and it's a place in Austin, pretty nice. And like, surprise, Deadmau5 is playing.
Yes, I remember seeing the tweets.
And,
yes.
And so I walk up to the bar, ask for a gin and tonic, give me top shelf gin. Again, this is a GA party.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
VIP. I'm just there like everyone else.
Okay.
Top shelf gin, Deadmau5 playing. They have like a bunch of stations in the back that I guess had 1080s installed.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is like branded Nvidia on the front and I cannot imagine how much all of that cost. And then like at DreamHack, the Alienware booth was handing out GTX 770s.
What?
Handing them out.
What?
They gave away. They
amazing.
apparently gave away like more than 1,000 of them.
Oh my
I didn't get one, but I was just like, what? This is still that's still a reasonable card.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they were
they were making it
literally
rain.
handing them out. So I don't know what's going on with Nvidia, but that is some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway.
They just don't care, man.
They really don't care. They are letting that money flow.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's jump into some quick hits here. The first one we're going to talk about is we did talk about Overwatch a little bit in the what we've been playing section, but the Overwatch open beta, according to Blizzard, was played by over 9.7 million people.
Damn.
Which is a pretty astounding.
That's a huge
number.
Huge number for a beta.
Yeah, and they had 4.9 billion minutes of playtime, or 81 million hours, and 37 million matches. Just some of the stats, and that's a record for them across any game. So, yeah, I mean,
you gotta hand it to Blizzard for we've talked about this before, but I felt like they actually ran that like a beta because so many people wanted keys for that game, but I'm assuming they had a strategy for the number of players that they wanted to have at any given time, and tweak things and invite more people. But even once the open beta came out, there was so much demand for it that they still got a ton of players in. So that from their perspective, that's a ton of data that they can hopefully make the game better when it launches. Hopefully tweak some of the balancing stuff like that. I think props to them for running what looked like a proper beta and not just a marketing beta. It worked for marketing too. Don't get me wrong, but
because it was so good, though.
Yeah,
to be fair,
but
they polished.
It looks like they did get a lot of data out of it, which is the whole point of a beta.
Exactly. I do have to read so I have to read this one. I just love reading really salty comments. This guy clearly has something against Blizzard and Overwatch. I'm just going to read this comment from Random Digits on PC Gamer. 9.7 million accounts attempted playing it. Cool. Period. Might as well cut that number in half for all the people attempting more than one platform for play. So it's really 4.8 million, which seems to be about the same number of WoW subscribers out there, if I'm not mistaken. Shots. How many of these plan on giving Blizzard their money for a game with no meat? Not I. Too many other games to play. And then listen to this part. Too many other games to play that far out fun this, and then he calls Overwatch a travesty. That far out fun this travesty. I just love the internet, dude. I just like that you can find somebody out there who could call if you played Overwatch at all, one thing you cannot call it is a travesty because it's just impressive on so many levels.
I will always be impressed at just the vitriol that you can get from someone who what is your motivation for even
why
commenting
is he so
here?
mad?
Why does this matter?
Mad. Yeah, I don't know.
That far out from this travesty.
I don't think I've seen called Overwatch a travesty. Trust me, buddy, I've played some travesties in my day, and Overwatch is not a travesty. No. It's just
let alone you can get it for $40 on PC. You're gonna say that this game is not for $40 is a travesty?
I don't think he's definitely not kidding. I mean, you can tell me if the tone here is kidding.
No, he does not look like he's kidding. Actually it's proper grammar capitalization.
It's proper grammar.
This looks like he proofread it too, which frankly is even scarier.
He definitely proofread. He didn't want to be called saying that he didn't read the comment. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Sounds very passionate.
but anyway, yeah, and he's very passionate. But Overwatch, excited. I'm definitely excited. I'll pick it up for the 40, and hopefully some tweaks are. I think they'll probably tweak it. It's not going to be a game that's not going to be patched throughout its history for sure as they balance stuff. But I'm excited. I'm excited about it. All right, so let's talk. This could be a potential trigger warning for people like Brandon for sure, having coming off the Division. But Ubisoft hopes to release 5 new games before April of next year, and so that's pretty. That's a pretty big,
11
ambitious
months to
idea.
release
So
5 games.
5 games, and there's some big franchises in here. We've got Ghost Recon Wildlands, Watch Dogs 2 in the mix. Still haven't played the first Watch Dogs, but I know people are waiting with bated breath for Watch Dogs 2. For Honor, and then the new South Park game, which I'm really excited about because I really liked the Stick of Truth. So I am excited about the South Park game. But how do you feel about this, Brandon? Coming off of because you paid $60 for the Division, right? You played through it and then got to the end, and
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, look, the Division is not a... Oh, we lost
I guess you got your money's worth. I mean, you played what, 60 hours or whatever you said? I don't know what you ended up putting into it.
Yeah, no, the Division is not bad. I think you can get $60 worth of value out of that game, but it's like it does chap me a little bit, just because like when you look at all of the stuff that has come out after the launch of the Division, which is like all the cheating and stuff, and like all these architectural problems with the game.
Right.
When you see news that they're planning to put out 5 new games, it makes you think that like okay, but are you moving people that like in another company or in another world would be working on making the Division better? Are you now like you got your sales for the Division? Are you now moving on to 5 new games? Instead of focusing on making the Division a good experience? It's
right.
I know it doesn't always work that way, but you can't help but feel that way sometimes.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, like I couldn't believe this. I did not realize that the Division has, I mean, as far as units that they've shipped, the Division has 9.5 million users, like million people that have registered for accounts for that game. That's insane.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it sold that well. I really didn't. For some reason, I guess because I've been seeing all the negative stuff about toward end game content and like the basically having to rebuild the architecture in the game to deal with cheating. So I guess it wasn't registering to me how actually huge that of a success I think overall, obviously, that it was for them. They've sold 1.5 billion worth of product over the last 12 months. 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
So they're doing well. I mean, and to be fair, they have their hands in a lot. I think there's like 7 or 8 different studios that make games under the Ubisoft name.
That's the thing. They're not a small team.
They're not.
But also like just 5 new games. That it just seems so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially when like you look at a lot of the games they've done, like they're forgettable. You have something like the Division. You're like, why don't you make this? Why don't you try and put your stamp on something that will really last? When Watch Dogs kind of whatever. I don't know. Actually, Watch Dogs sold pretty well, I think. So
I think it did.
I don't know. That feels like the whole scheme though is like we put out this game that people think is going to be great, and then it's like pretty good or like okay, but then there are all of these things under the surface that you only find out once you start playing it and really digging into it. But then like we already got your money, so we're already making the next thing.
Right.
It feels like just like rinse and repeat.
It definitely does. So anyway, keep your eye. Again, I'm excited about the South Park, the next South Park game. Katie, did you ever play through the first Watch Dogs?
No, I have not. It never really interested me that much.
Agreed. I feel the same way. But yeah, I mean, as far as monetarily, Ubisoft is fucking killing it out there. So
one Division will fund a lot of different stuff.
It will. It absolutely will. All right, Windows 10 has got some crucial updates for PC gaming. Do you want to talk about this, Brandon, a bit?
Yeah. So I only bring this up real quick because we've talked about this before, where the Windows 10 has all these like restrictions and things for things that are on the Universal Windows platform.
Yes,
and Microsoft made some promises that it was going to get better. And to their credit, they're adding a few things like variable frame rate. You don't have to have VSync on, so
Ooh.
that's news.
Wow, dude. This is, I mean, again, like, this is the stuff about Microsoft is like, just when I think, they've run out of innovative things to be able to do, they do stuff like this. They go and they just surprise you, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like you can now toggle VSync. You can unlock your frame rate. You're
what's
welcome.
next?
You're welcome, Windows users.
What's next? This is unbelievable.
So for all you people who bought Quantum Break on the Windows Store,
yes,
you're welcome.
it's I don't know. I don't know what's going to be next here.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, these are groundbreaking features. The sky is the limit with this Universal Windows Platform stuff.
I think very soon we're going to see stuff like being able to change the resolution in your games. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. That could be nuts.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
crazy.
That feels pretty complex, though. I'm not
It
sure
does.
we may not see that this year.
Yeah, no, definitely. That probably is going to take some work, but I believe in time they'll probably give that to us. But I know we're being facetious, but I mean, it is newer, and I guess in the non-sarcastic side, it is good to know because I mean, eventually we're all going to have to be on Windows 10. Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, we're joking, but it is actually like just a legitimately good thing that they are doing some of the things they said they would do, and hopefully if they can keep adding these sorts of features to Universal Windows Platform, that will at least go some way to delivering on the promise that they care about gamers. Where like the current iteration, even with like toggling off VSync and stuff. Right. Like this Universal Windows Platform stuff is not what gamers want. It's not what gamers need, and I think they're still going to have to go a long way to convince people of that. But one feature at a time, like they might be able to do that.
Absolutely. Okay, so our final kind of quick hit here.
The best news of the week.
Yeah, the best news of the week is this story about the UK Russian embassy, which tweeted a screenshot from Command and Conquer generals. Okay, I'm just going to read this as it is because you have to hear this, okay? The UK Russian embassy tweeted a screenshot from Command and Conquer generals to warn of Syrian extremists. And hilarity on Twitter ensued, obviously, because you can't see something like that and not parody it. So the responses to this were fantastic. But if you actually hear, we'll put the tweet hopefully in the chat. But to describe it to the listeners, the Russian embassy in the UK, the tweet was simple. Extremists near Aleppo received several truckloads of chemical ammo, and it is then a picture underneath.
It's a picture of GLA bomb trucks.
Of GLA
from
bomb
Command and
trucks.
Conquer generals.
And in tiny text on the actual image, you cannot make this up. It says, "Image used for illustration purposes only." Like, they could not find a single picture anywhere that wasn't a screenshot from Command and Conquer generals or just of trucks that have chemicals in them that were real. It's just the whole thing's amazing.
It's so good. It's
great.
It's so funny. Like this is probably literally what came up when someone Googled bomb truck.
Yeah, 100% was.
And I mean,
was.
just whoever's doing their social media, they probably have this mandate that like, listen, don't post something without a picture, right? Like pictures get better engagement, so find a picture, and we'll use it. And he found this picture. But the responses to this are so good. Like someone responded and said, "Evidence of fascists in Ukraine violating Minsk protocol," and it's a screenshot of Wolfenstein.
Yeah. There's one from Tasmanian Fox who added the Russian embassy, and he said extremists near Aleppo received several crates of TNT, and it's TNT screenshot on Minecraft, and it spells out boom in TNT. Oh, people are having fun with it, but I think it did turn out
part of Twitter.
Yeah, it is. It did. People had a lot of fun with it, and like you said, I think in this article on Eurogamer, it did turn out to be just literally Googling bomb truck, and that comes up like one of the first hits. So it was definitely kind of a social media kind of faux pas there. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe they were just like, we're going to get this done. I'll put this little text here, and you know what? Fuck everybody. I'm not going to search for a
I mean,
chemical
who
truck
knows?
picture.
Like that's probably the most social media traffic the Russian embassy in the UK has gotten in a while.
Exactly. Yeah, they're probably picking
They're
up a lot
more
of
relevant
followers.
today than ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so definitely, we talked about some good things and some depressing things, but that's just all good, like you said.
Man armed with shotgun spotted in Berlin, and it's a screenshot of Graves from League of Legends.
Oh, so good. So
so
freaking good.
So good.
All right, Katie, take away or take us to the new releases, my friend. What comes out this week?
Let's get it started.
Yes.
So the first up coming out on May 19th is the next DLC for Fallout 4, Fallout 4 Far Harbor, which looks to be like the second story-related DLC. I haven't really kept up that well on it, but just looks like new maps, new missions, new levels, all that good stuff. It's gonna come out on May 19th. So if you're into Fallout 4, getting more content for that, awesome. Next up is an indie game called Stormworm, which it's nothing too really exciting. It just looks like it's described as a fast-paced, reflex-driven arcade game with colorful visuals and an original soundtrack. Looking at the gameplay here, it reminds me of like Super Stardust HD, which was like a PlayStation arcade game, which I enjoyed. But this looks fun. It's one of those podcast games where you just play it while you're listening to a podcast or doing other tasks.
Or actually recording a podcast or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it helps me focus. I promise. But yeah, that's gonna come out on April.
What, April?
It says April 20th, but then available May 20th.
Oh yeah, that has to be a miss.
Well, you can't buy it yet, so it's got to be May 20th.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's either April 20th or May 20th. Maybe it's out. Maybe it's been out this entire time. We just didn't know it.
Could be.
But next up, if you didn't know, if you haven't been keeping up on Homefront, that's getting a sequel. Surprisingly, I've heard little about this.
Yeah, I've not heard much about a new Homefront game, and this kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah, it's Homefront: The Revolution. It's an open world first person shooter where you must lead the resistance. Yada yada. It looks visually pretty. Looks pretty nice.
It's okay. I'm getting Call of Duty like vibes from the trailer. As far as I mean, I don't know what engine it's on, but it's kind of. But it is pretty. It's pretty looking. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. Definitely not going to drop 60 for it.
No.
Not sure if there are any Homefront.
I'm interested to see kind of how the open world shit works. I did see there was a stream on Twitch with a bunch of like popular Twitch streamers playing it for like I guess a PR kind of campaign, and it looked like it was a mix of like the open world was like PvE as well, kind of like the Division. You know what I mean? PvE and PvP.
Oh
so like there's like you kill mobs, but also you're fighting for control of territories. But just obviously in first person. So I don't know. That could be interesting. But again, like I don't know who this is. I don't know who Homefront: The Revolution is for. I mean, I guess it's good that there's that franchise is. I mean, maybe it'll end up being good. But I mean, it's got to be daunting to go up against Call of Duty and Battlefield, and you know what I mean? Because it's definitely in that same kind of realm. So I guess we'll see how it sells. Because I didn't remember the first Homefront selling well enough. I mean, I guess it sold well enough for them to make a sequel, or maybe they're just banking on it again. But I thought I remember they weren't really happy with how well Homefront, the first one, sold. But
I mean, it doesn't look terrible. But I didn't play the first one, and it's just one of those games that you feel like looks like it should be more popular than it was.
Yeah. Again, I didn't play a ton of it, so I guess I'll have to wait and see. I'll wait for reviews and see a little bit, but I'm definitely it's not like I don't think any of us are like, I got that pre-order. Dude, I'm gonna pre-order.
Saying the beta was not very good. So.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying the beta was disappointing, which is interesting. Which I mean, dude, the $80 you can get the Red Skull motorbike skin, and you also get early unlocks for your co-op character. You get remote explosives early without having to grind, a sniper scope, and a marksman rifle.
Sign me up.
Damn.
I think definitely worth it.
All right. I just can't pass up the Liberty Pack
That's
The revolutionary
Are you,
spirit pack.
listen, if you don't buy the Liberty Pack, you're not even. You hate your country. You care about freedom.
You're not a real
You
American.
fucking commie. I bet you're voting for Bernie in the primary.
Whoa. Going
Whoa.
back into that. No, but
Oh,
no,
this one.
game,
This one. Kate.
yeah, this that comes out on May 17th, tomorrow. But the final game we have today
Oh God.
is
I can't.
this is a game called YouTuber's Life. It's the ultimate life simulation tycoon video game in which you can become the world's greatest video blogger in history, edit videos, expand the amount of fans, and turn yourself into a wealthy fellow.
This is what we've I mean, we have come.
Yeah.
This is where the world is at this point. That there's
There's-
a YouTuber life simulator. Like,
We've come from Roller Coaster Tycoon, Lemonade Stand Tycoon, Video Game Tycoon, and now we're at YouTubers Tycoon, basically.
I
Well-
don't know how to feel. I don't know whether to be like impressed with, you know what I mean? I don't know whether to be impressed or
I mean,
sad.
who
I'm not
knows?
sure.
Maybe it could turn out to be a charming, like fun. It's got like you see like a screenshot of like the editing software here. That's like a funny little nod to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Vegas. I don't know. It's the idea of it is a bit sketchy. There's also a screenshot of someone getting married, so maybe it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where you like meet your wife through the internet. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's one route the story could take. But
I have never
mean, it is
seen
getting-
I've never seen a game that is more designed to be like just played as a joke by people on YouTube and make
100%.
money.
Yeah.
And on stream,
This is-
100%.
This is the most transparent yet.
Yes. And I probably will buy it, and I will probably try it 100%. I mean, it's got me.
Yeah, the sad thing is,
it
they know what
looks-
they're. Activision's not the only one that knows what they're doing with this.
No. This is a smart money grab. I, mean, I don't know how much does it say how much it is? It's early access, but
it doesn't. But it
doesn't
does
say.
say what who the developer is. I see you play online. Now, hopefully,
That's not
this isn't
confusing at all.
Uplay. Yeah.
yeah, wow.
Why
Yeah,
would you
I see
call
you-
yourself Uplay?
What are you? Are you drunk? That has to be. They had to have like,
Like
lost
not
a
only are you probably going to get sued by
bet.
by Ubisoft,
Yes.
but like it's not a good game and it's not a good name and it
terrible.
confuses you with a bad product.
Yeah,
Oh.
what? Yeah,
All right, maybe they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
I
that
don't know.
that's what they're called. Yeah. Anyway, I just put it in chat. U-play online.
It's got
Can we
a.
also
it's
like?
got,
I realize this is a little pedantic, but
Yeah.
YouTube has a capital T in it. YouTube is
Yeah.
a proper noun, and so like
Ooh.
not only are they not capitalizing it, but they didn't put an apostrophe in the name. It's YouTubers, like
No, you're right.
multiple
Oh, they're
YouTubers
desperately-
with a single life.
you're
So
right.
YouTubers life, and I
I
feel
want
like
to avoid that copyright.
yeah, I feel like maybe that's like a sly attempt to try and get around like trademark stuff.
Yeah, I think it might be because if you take a look at even at the trailer, there's a thing that says that like the person's buying something on Amazon, and I mean it looks like the Amazon logo, but they don't call it Amazon. It's like Amazon or something.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're calling it YouTube. They're just not capitalizing the T. It's still
yeah.
YouTube.
I guess you're right.
And
I
it's
don't-
consistent. It's consistent in all of their branding.
Yeah,
But it's not. If you go to youtube.com, you'll see the T is capitalized. So what are they doing? When you that's the title of your game, you know you're doing that on purpose.
yeah.
these are-
I think
these are
they're
the-
definitely doing it on purpose. I don't think
These
it's.
are the things that keep me up at night. Like
Yeah, I know. It's
How-
gonna
But
mess
then
with you.
in one of the trailers here, the third trailer, they have another logo with a capital T.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
oh no,
Oh, that's
that's
right.
really gonna.
you're right.
They do. So
You're right.
it
We're
was a
done here.
mistake, perhaps.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
done here.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Don't
But
buy
it
this
looks
game.
like it has a a decent level of polish in it, maybe.
I mean, it does.
I don't know.
Well, that'll remain to be seen. I'll definitely try it on stream and try to become PewDiePie. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
honestly, at this point, this is definitely a market. I mean, because YouTube is so saturated at this point, you know, and you know, so
definitely.
the actual dreams of becoming a really popular YouTuber are definitely, you know, out of reach for a lot of people just because
That's
of
true. Yeah,
saturation.
we're at the
You've
point.
got,
So-
we're at the point where you need a simulation.
You do,
to
to live.
pretend you're a successful YouTuber. The
Yeah.
same way that you used to pretend you would want to own a theme park.
Yes.
You now pretend that you are a successful
Think about
content
that.
creator
Think
on the YouTube website.
Like if you're
The views-
seriously, like if you buy this seriously though, there has to be a part of you that has just resigned and died inside. Do you know what I mean? Like if you want to make content and you're like, well, there's what's the point? I'm not even going to attempt. I'm just gonna buy YouTuber's Life and just try to pretend that I'm making content. And on YouTuber's Life, I have made a character that is the PewDiePie of that universe. Then I'm set. Whatever. Hey, listen. You know what? We're getting old. You know what? We need to stop being so judgmental. This is like the rock and roll stuff, Brandon.
Yeah.
Where our parents.
This screenshot where you're literally looking at a fake video editing program interface, and it's called Final Premiere Advanced. I have to implore you that instead of buy a game where you're like playing like you're editing a video, like the subtext here is video editing skills is actually like a great skill to have.
Yeah,
like that's actually like a real marketable skill that might help you get a job one day or something. Like, please, instead of like spending time with a game that like just you click a button and you're like, oh cool, I'm making a fake video and rendering in this fake game. Like actually just like go learn Premiere or Vegas or something, because that's actually like a good skill to have.
100%. Could not agree more.
I don't know, if you're like me, you've got a struggling YouTube channel, maybe I could learn something from this game. Could really
no, Katie, you're far more successful than anyone that will play this game seriously. So just don't even. But anyway, yeah.
If I'm not able to make a channel like Keemstar or Leafy or just the most toxic,
I can't wait. See, someone in chat said I'm going to be the DJ Keemstar. I'm going to make a DJ Keemstar character. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see how far
be like that. Then please pretend in this game.
Yeah, definitely pretend. We don't need any more.
Don't actually do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Katie, thank you.
go.
Those are the new releases for this week. We've got a couple good viewer questions here that we're gonna hit real fast. The first one is from Not So Ordinary Gamer, and he asks us, "What is the best concert you have ever been to?" Which I thought was a pretty good question.
Mine's kind of easy.
Well, I mean, you just went to Baby Metal, so apparently,
yeah, it's
sounds like nothing tops this experience, because that's the only thing that's made it to the threshold to be presented on the podcast.
That's true. Now he did talk about. I know he's gonna go Coheed because he's talked about his Coheed show before too.
So yeah, that is definitely the most memorable one I've had.
Yeah,
being like right there. But yeah, that's the best concert I've been to.
I would say concert. I mean, again, I guess I'm separating this from because I've gone to so many electronic music shows when I lived in California. So there's, you said concert, so I don't consider going to like a electronic music show.
I think those are also concerts, but
yeah,
I would say pick one that's not one of those.
Yeah. So I would have to go. I have to go Coheed as well. I mean, I've seen them a lot of times now, but they're probably the best show I ever saw was when I went to the Never Ender tour. I saw them play.
You went to that?
Yes, I saw them play the entirety of In Keeping Secrets.
Oh,
and that anyway.
That is
probably the best show I've ever seen. Also crowd-wise too. Just everybody singing every lyric and stuff like that. So definitely Coheed for me. Brandon, you've been to a lot of shows though. Brandon,
I've been to a lot of shows. It's I mean, honestly, it's hard to pick one. Let's see. Sorry, my dryer's going off.
Someone's shaving?
It's tough because I've been to several festivals, and so those are just kind of like that's like, it's one concert, but you're just getting like a dose of a bunch of bands all at once. Man, probably this. I'll try and say something that's like not what people would think, because I enjoy like I've seen Metallica a few times. Metallica's great. I've seen like Bullet for My Valentine several times. They're awesome. But actually, I think one of the most impactful shows was like in high school. I saw Ted Nugent, and
wow!
So there are a lot of people that probably like really hate Ted Nugent for like his political views and all sorts of dumb stuff. But like what I want you to think about is like Ted Nugent is like 70 years old, and so at the time he would have been, I don't know, late 50s or something. He basically, his shows, at least that show, and like pretty much his shows still to this day, are just him like soloing for 2 hours straight, pretty much.
Wow.
Like his songs just kind of run together, which if you listen to some of his popular songs like Stranglehold, Stranglehold is just like kind of him soloing for like 11 minutes on various things, like riffing. That was his whole show, and like it was just his skill. I was like, man, you're 60 years old and you're up on stage just playing for like 2 hours straight. Even other bands, they'll take a little break for water and stuff. Like he's just nonstop. So that's one of the coolest shows I've been to.
It's like a workhorse.
Yeah,
just like 2 hours. Yeah,
and it was like it was a smaller venue, so we were up close to the stage, and I just love those shows where it's like it's really intimate and you can just appreciate the skill on display. And that was one of those shows.
Very cool. Okay, good question by Natso. Arc 520 asked us a very important question. I don't think we've ever had this on the cast, which is we've definitely had questions relating.
I think we have. We've had some.
Maybe we have. Well, no, we have had
this.
questions relating to the butthole, but I don't know if we've ever been asked, have you ever seen your own butthole? And I'm trying to think.
I mean,
what qualifies as seeing it?
Like, I think he means like how, like taking, I don't know if you have to take a photo with your camera phone, like if maybe in the mirror, like spreading your cheeks to try to see what's going on down there. And then maybe the reflection. I don't know exactly.
I mean,
I'm sure I have in some form. I don't know if I've ever gotten like a real sobering look at it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah, I think that's about on the level I'm at. Like, I don't think I could describe it to you.
I don't know if I could either.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Yeah, like a passing ship in the night or something. I'm sure that I've gotten a glance at it, but I don't. Yeah, not like not anything that
like
really sticks with me.
It's not something that I make an effort to like take a look at frequently, but I'm pretty sure I've stolen a glance once in a while, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we all feel like we're at least like in some form we've seen a bit of it. Katie, you agree as well?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Okay, hold on. See, I think KD has seen more than he's willing to say, though.
No, I've seen my butthole before. That's
okay. How have you seen? How have you gone about? I'm curious to. Have you had to take pictures? Have you taken pictures, or you've seen it in the mirror, or how?
No, I haven't taken a picture of my asshole.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Well, I'm just curious.
I've looked in a mirror before.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, I think mirror's fair. I'm trying to think like when the last time I would have really taken a look at my butthole in the mirror for anything. I can't. I mean, nothing
something
recent.
You'd never think about.
But
It's
I mean, I'm sure I have.
That picture you sent me didn't take itself, so
That's true. That's true, Brandon. That's a good point. But sometimes I black out. So if you probably have seen Brandon, you've probably seen a better shot of my butthole than I have seen myself, to be honest, at this point.
I can't disagree with that.
Yes. All right, this comes from PD Skeety, but on Twitter he goes by PMagu6, and he asks us. Well, I'm going to read it as it was written. Apart from your own lives, period. What is your biggest disappointment? Question mark.
Was this like a continuation of a tweet? Like, was this a second tweet in a series of tweets or something?
No, I think.
I feel like he's just continuing a thought. He's like, apart from your own lives. But there's something that comes before that.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think it was just. I think that's how it was. Let me make sure I'm not misrepresenting. I'm pretty sure.
Because we do read the questions as written, so
we do. Let's see. No, yep, that's exactly what it is. Apart from your own. Oh, okay. Sorry, I think we are missing a bit. It's apart from your own lives have turned out. So the actual full quote is apart from your own lives have turned out. Period. What has been the biggest disappointment?
Well, that doesn't help. That
doesn't help at all.
It
makes it more nonsensical. Are they trying
to say like disappointments of our lives, or that our lives are disappointments?
I think he's definitely going for the.
If I were to read between the lines, yes. I believe he is saying, aside from your own life, which inevitably has been the biggest disappointment.
Exactly.
What is the number two aside from your life?
What's the number?
What's the biggest disappointment?
Yeah.
Dead Space 3.
Wow. Okay.
That's your biggest disappointment?
In your
you
whole
personally.
Well, they said apart from your own lives.
Being subjected to Dead Space 3 is your biggest disappointment.
Okay, I interpreted the question wrong.
That in Katie's life experience, Brandon.
I mean, he is young. Like maybe he hasn't had many disappointments, or it is such that was such a severe disappointment that it left that kind of mark on him.
That's true. I mean, Dead Space 3 was fucking pretty terrible, wasn't it? I played a bit of it, and it was pretty awful.
It wasn't the worst thing, but okay, no, I take it back. Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 by far.
I think you're not really like.
I don't.
Okay, come back to me.
Because you're going
personal.
games. I mean, this could be life.
I took the question wrong. Like
your
I was
biggest
thinking of it
disappointment, Dark Souls 2.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest disappointment in your life.
No. Okay, I need to
think about
of it
like your whole life, not just gaming.
Yeah. I was thinking of like what was the most disappointing to me. I need to think of like what did I do to disappoint someone, or what was the most disappointing thing.
Okay. No, I
So
mean
come back
maybe
to
it's all right. I mean, for me, I'm just taking this as like what is like, and for me, I guess I don't know if it's like a moment in time, but realizing at some point as you age, like that you never had it better than when you were a kid, or at least had less responsibilities in a certain way. At least for me, like there's a certain level of, and as you age, and maybe this is different for other people, but you know, you just look back and you can't, the older you get and the more worries that you take on and all this other stuff with life, there is, at least for me, there was a distinct time where I was like looking back and I was like, man, I didn't really realize how good I have it or enjoy the time I had when I was a kid or a teenager. Because when you're younger, you're always looking forward to getting older, right? I think all of us do that. And then it's like by the time you get there, you know, there's great things about aging and being older, like life experience and being able to do whatever you want. But a lot of that, I don't know. It's like
every day in your life, you're not thinking about how that day is like the least responsibility you're ever going to have, because like you only add responsibility as you get older.
Yeah, you don't get to take it away really, unless maybe until like you're a dribbling fool in a nursing home. That sounds really negative, but until you literally they have to take it away.
Responsibility, you can't enjoy it because like you don't have responsibility because you lost the privilege.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because you just physically or mentally can't do it anymore.
I mean, like inmates in a prison don't have much responsibility, but you know that's not ideal. That might actually qualify as someone's biggest disappointment.
That's true. That could qualify as someone's biggest disappointment. But I guess, and anyway, just constantly, I guess, just I don't know where I'm going with this, but definitely like, and then when you do have it good, or there are those moments where you're like, wow, life is really good. You got to really appreciate that for the times it gets a little bit more dark. But so Katie, that's kind of, I think, I mean, I took it real dark there, but I don't know, Katie, we're going to come back to you now. Have you thought any more about what your biggest disappointment would be in light of all that?
Okay.
Shit, my mic was muted.
Katie just went and knocked himself after that whole speech. He's done.
I was just lost in thought.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. Like,
all right, well, you're still, Katie. You're a youngin' yet. Still, you got
I mean, plenty of time to be.
You got time. Like, enjoy. I'm not saying you don't have any responsibilities, but enjoy the responsibility. Like, because you still live at home, right? Like, you don't have. You're not out yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet, and you're gonna get there. And I know there's certain things I'm sure you just can't wait for, but definitely enjoy the time you have.
The most responsibility he has is like showing up on time for this cast.
Yeah, that's true, and at his job. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, work, school, all that stuff. Yeah, but you know. This podcast, I mean, obviously takes precedent.
The new biggest disappointment in my life is Katie's answer to this question. Wow, not so. Really going with it. All right, Brandon, what about you? What about yours?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that qualifies here, but I try not to. This again is going to go to kind of similar place as you, just like life advice. But like I try not to be disappointed in things. Because like there are usually sunk costs at that point. So
there are,
like I've been like unhappy at times. I've disappointed myself at times, but it's nothing that like I think it's nothing I dwell on. Like, so I can't really think offhand and be like, what's my biggest disappointment? I haven't had any like life-changing disappointments, which I guess is a good thing. But definitely. The time, like everything gets better anytime you disappoint like your family or your friends or something. Like you can always learn from it and then like try and be better next time. So,
and I mean the other thing, the key thing when it comes to disappointment, what is disappointment? What is that gleaned from? That's from having expectations. So if you can go through life having as little expectations as possible, your level of disappointment, I mean that sounds like a really depressing way to go through your life. And obviously, you can't go through your life never having expectations for anything, because then, I mean, then you're truly just, that's a pretty bleak life. But if you can have as little as possible, the amount of times you're truly disappointed will really go down. So if you always expect the worst. I'm not saying live like an Eeyore, but have a pretty reasonable, know that anyone, everyone, and everybody in your life will let you down at some point. And then it's not as bad. I mean,
like
you'll still
be realistic with things, and like you'll sometimes get down. You'll be happy, you'll be sad, but like I think the danger is in the extremes. And,
exactly. So anyway, all right, interesting question, PD Skitty, and I hope we answered it in the context of. I mean, we were trying to decode what you said, so I think we nailed it though.
Did our best.
We did our best. All right, so this is from Dr. Rage. This was an email question, and let's see what he has for us. He says, "Evening, gentlemen. Judging by the looks of your bodies, you guys don't look like people who eat salads. Well, however, I know you guys can answer this controversial question. Say, for example, I have a burger. Your average burger with 2 pieces of buns with a slab of meat in the middle. Now, the important part. The burger has lettuce on it. Keep an open mind. I have one reason on why this burger with lettuce should be considered a burger salad and not a burger. So a burger just with lettuce on it is becoming a salad. All right, let's hear this. People have told me that the lettuce to burger ratio must contain more lettuce than burger in order for it to be considered a salad. But look at taco salads, for example. I've seen those fuckers filled with more meat and chips than lettuce all the time, but yet people consider them salads. So, gentlemen, we have a food epidemic on our hands. Should burgers with lettuce be considered a burger or a burger salad?" Wow.
I feel like that it's hard to come up with an objective answer to this question that satisfies other non-taco salad related arguments. Yeah. But when you look at a taco salad, the important part is that like it's usually in like a bowl of some sort. Like a salad is something presented on on a plate or in a bowl, whereas a burger is like all self-contained.
Yes.
So if you put all of the pieces of a taco salad like between 2 pieces of bread, you wouldn't call it like you wouldn't call it a salad.
No.
So at some point you just have to make a distinction that maybe like is going to have some edge cases that don't fit in.
Sure. I totally agree with that. And the other thing, it's definitely also in the presentation. Like in a salad is presented in a bowl or whatever else, or even and like you said, there will be fringe cases.
But here's what if you were going to tell me what a burger salad was, or if you wanted me to guess, I have this dish called a burger salad. What's in it? I would think like, all right, you probably have like pieces of hamburger meat. Mm-hmm. You probably have like some pieces of tomatoes. You have maybe like even some pieces of like a toasted bun or something. But it's presented in the same way as a taco salad, where like it's in a bowl or a plate or something, right? Like you could turn the pieces of a burger into a burger salad, but you'd have to present it differently.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's all in the presentation and the way that you eat it. Like when I think of a salad, I don't think of it in between 2 buns.
You're not eating a salad. You're eating a salad with a fork. Almost exclusively. You're never using
important.
Your hands.
Yes, that's very important. That's a distinction. So, you are eating a salad with a fork and knife.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So no. So to answer your question, no.
And that also means that if you put lettuce on the outside of a burger, like instead of a bun, if you use lettuce as the bun, still not a salad. Yes, because it's still not like presented to you in a plate. You're not eating it with utensils.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fact that lettuce simply exists in the dish does not constitute it being a salad.
Yeah, the ratio, like the ratio of how much lettuce is there is not what makes it a salad necessarily.
Nope.
Yeah, you could put a pound of lettuce on a sandwich, and it doesn't make it a salad.
Yep, that's exactly right. It's not like a weight thing. It's not like a this percentage of this of this dish is lettuce. It's the fact that like. Yeah, if you put a whole bunch of lettuce in between 2 pieces of bread, that doesn't just make it a salad because of the proportions.
Right.
But it is a good question.
It's a good question.
That's a tough one. You got to kind of talk it out.
You do. Like I feel like a lot of these we talk out as we go, and we're like, okay, we start thinking like, okay, what makes something a salad? It was good. We're our problem solving skills with these questions are getting better. I think
absolutely.
We're getting quicker at it. All right, so this is from Acantu. This is an email question as well.
This
He
is a good
says,
one.
yeah, this is a good one. As a child, my parents never imposed any restrictions on the video games I played or how much time I was allowed to play them for. So when I would go to a friend's house whose parents not only restricted the types of games they were allowed to play, but also restricted the amount of time they were allowed to spend gaming, I found myself very confused. I was one of those children, Acantu, so thank you. The most extreme case I ever experienced was a friend with 2 younger brothers whose mother only allowed them to use their PlayStation for one specifically scheduled hour per day, during which she would watch them like a hawk. Wow.
No.
Can relate. Can totally relate to that. How much control did your parents impose over your own gaming habits, and do you think your habits today would be exceedingly different if they had been more or less restrictive? It's a good question.
This is a good question.
Very good.
Yeah, my parents, they really, like, definitely didn't like the amount of time I played the game. I mean, I had like a bedtime that was pretty strict, like when I was younger, that was like imposed, I guess. But when it came to ratings, I didn't play Grand Theft Auto until I was like 15, 16. And like I have one memory of being in like Family Video when I was a kid, and I wanted to get like F-Zero on GameCube, and they wouldn't let me get it because it said suggestive themes.
F-Zero.
And then yeah, I was like, okay, thanks. And I remember like eventually, because for the longest time I just played Pokemon and Sonic, and I was content. And then one day I played like Left 4 Dead on the PC. That was like the first M-rated PC game I played. And it just opened me up to this whole.
Didn't it?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to kill everything. No, that was what opened like my world into games. And then like that's what kind of went to, like they were more lenient. Like you can just play whatever you want as long as you're not killing hookers or things like that.
Right.
But yeah, my parents were kind of on top of it, and it makes me respect parents more that are on top of their kids instead of just and I see it a lot in retail too. They just hand their kids their card, say pick out Grand Theft Auto, pick out Watch Dogs, anything like that. But so I'm thankful my parents watched what I played, and I appreciate parents who watch what their kids play.
Yeah.
To an extent.
I came from a very, very restrict. I mean, so I'll do you one better, my friend.
All right.
And I've shared this before. Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you necessarily, Katie, but Ikantu, he's talking about how the most extreme case he ever experienced was a friend with 2 younger brothers who let them play 1 hour every day, watching them like a hawk. How about 30 minutes every other day?
Oh no!
With restricted games on an original PlayStation console.
Every other day?
That was my life for, and to put top on this, I was in the tropics. I was in South America with very little to actually do with that level of, because my parents really didn't get they really thought video games were going to melt my brain. You know what I mean? Like they were definitely the old school vibe. And I found other ways to, it was funny. My dad was, when he was in town and on the stream, on my Twitch stream on Saturday, he talked about this a little bit, and we joke about it now and laugh about it now, but, it was a constant battle for me, being like, are you freaking kidding me? So it definitely it did make me, I do feel like it helped me appreciate the positive sides of that. Is I cherished that time that I got to play. It was fucking sacred to me.
Yeah.
Like nobody better interrupt me. My brother was not touching that fucking controller. You know what I mean? Like it was like, these are my 30 minutes. And so it would take me a long time to go through games. And there were exceptions to that rule occasionally, but anything super violent or whatever else, I would always have to go to a friend's house. Like I never was allowed, up until I guess I was in high school. That's when they eventually just started giving up. And that's whenever my Counter-Strike addiction really started, definitely in high school. So, looking back on it now, I definitely wish they had been more lenient in some forms. And in other forms, I am glad that they were pretty strict, because it definitely did help me. It did help me like appreciate the time gaming that I had. But the thing is, the time when I wouldn't spend gaming, a lot of times I would spend pining over wishing I was playing games. So I don't think it really had the effect that they wanted it to have. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't necessarily do any more extracurricular activities. I probably just talked about the 30 minutes I had on Wednesday, you know what I mean, on Thursday, because I wasn't able to play. So I was like, dude, that was so sick. You know what I mean? So I do think when I have kids, I'm definitely gonna have a hands-on approach, because I'm always gonna be a gamer. So that's never gonna really change. So I agree with you, Katie. I do like seeing parents having an involvement. Like I don't think kids that are 9 years old should be playing fucking Grand Theft Auto or you know what I mean? Or like I really
Yeah.
like I don't again and people mature at different levels and stuff like that, but you definitely need to be hands on. I'm definitely not going to be one of those parents who's like, I have no idea what my kids are doing. And I think that is changing as like our generation grows up and as kids though, because we're just way more familiar with it. And it's a generational thing where, you know, like my dad had Pong growing up and that was about it. Like he wasn't into technology or anything like that. So,
Yeah, I think,
what about you, Brandon?
Yeah, my parents definitely limited the time that I could play games when I was young. And I don't remember exactly, like, you know, I still played a fair bit, but it wasn't quite as much as you, like 30 minutes every other day or anything. But yeah, like they definitely didn't want me overindulging in that.
Sure.
And at the time that was frustrating, because like they didn't play games. And
Yep.
so my thought was like, the only reason you're telling me I can't keep playing is because you're not playing. Like if you were playing this, you would tell me I could keep playing because it's that good, right? Like I enjoyed back in the day playing like Sega Genesis and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if you only knew how much fun I was having, you would sit here and you'd be playing all night too.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, I appreciate that they wanted me to be like a well-rounded individual, and so I know they had good intentions. But at the time, that like I wasn't happy about it.
Sure.
And actually, like the biggest example of this is them. So when I was in high school, they banned me from playing World of Warcraft, which I think we've told this before, but
yeah.
they banned me from playing World of Warcraft, and I really liked World of Warcraft,
Oh,
and I was really good at World of Warcraft too, and so they stopped paying for my account.
Ooh, cut you off.
no.
So instead
Why?
of not playing World of Warcraft, I had John pay for my account.
Yes.
And I got really, really good at tabbing out of World of Warcraft.
Instantly.
And, and had the option for hiding your taskbar unless you were mousing over it. I had that enabled. So I was, like I don't want to say I was living on the edge or anything, but some people worry about their safety after school or at night, but I was worried about my safety in a different way.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, like, so it's hard, like, I don't know. As I got older, it's like, I think you if you're more restrictive, that just means that your child will find another way around you.
They will.
Which is what I did as I got older. But like in the early days, I think it's really important. And I think the thing that can solve all of that is, like you were saying, Scott, just like my parents didn't play games with me.
Yeah.
And so it felt like an adversarial thing.
Exactly.
But if you play games with your kids, then I feel like you can it's easier to put limits on it because you're stopping playing too. So like you're saying, look, I'm having fun. But we need to do something else, right? We need to go outside. Like we need to, it's fun to play games, but also, you have to have balance in your life. And I think that rings a lot more true if they're playing with you and you can, like, they enjoy the game, but they also, they go and do something else with you later.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely being involved is like will and I think would have solved a lot of issues. Like even my dad now, he made some very interesting quotes on my Twitch stream. But at one point he said, like, I didn't even know, like I just had no idea what you were doing down there, like because he had no concept. He's like, for all I knew, you could have been the Unabomber or something. He literally said that, and I was dying. But I was like, he didn't realize I was playing with other people. You know what I mean? Like especially with Counter-Strike or other online games, he thought it was like a solitary thing. Like I was just in my, for him, I might as well put on my 3D goggles and flown away to some other land, even though it didn't exist in his mind. That's what it was. So
yeah, my parents were like kind of, they knew I was playing online with people, and sometimes that's what scared them.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's true too.
And so like I think parents are always going to be worried
Sure.
about their kids, and I think it's actually like it's harder to say now because it's so much easier to just be. It's so much easier to be gaming like literally all the time because you have your phone or an iPad or something, and so I think it's actually probably harder yet more important to impose some kind of limits, because I think it is very easy to just bury your head in a screen and
Sure.
like not develop in other ways. And
Yep.
so
Sure.
I'm not sure how to like where to put the credit for me being like a relatively well-adjusted individual who, you know, is like capable of having conversations and meeting people and things like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if like, you know, imposing a limit on my gaming had anything to do with that, or if that was always going to happen. But parents are always worried that, you know, you're gonna like that you're not going to develop all the skills you need to develop to be a healthy, well-adjusted adult. And
And that is, I mean, that's a legitimate concern. I mean, honestly, because it is access, right, is so much easier than it was ever, even growing up for us. You know what I mean? Like broadband internet and stuff, like all this stuff. It is so much easier. Kids having phones. Fuck, I don't even want to talk about the ages I'm seeing kids with phones. Like, so it is. I mean, it is going to be. So I think definitely as far as like, obviously, like as we humans, we evolve and like to the technology and stuff that we have. But that is like you're saying, being able to be social. Like I mean, I won't name any names, but I know and engage with certain people that I know have had stunted. Like they know how to interact on the internet, but because of how sheltered and stuff they are, they like in person, you're just like, this person is just doesn't know how to interact. Like you're saying, Brandon, like one-on-one. And that is a social skill that you really, you know, I guess you probably don't need it as much as you did in the past with everything, so many things being online, but that is something to actually be concerned about. So you definitely want to help that well-roundedness out. I don't want my kid to be somebody that like can't look somebody in the eye and have a conversation. But I do think we're kind of raising. There are certain kids getting raised like that where it's going to be really hard for them. So
yeah, I mean, like it's always going to be. You're always going to have different situations where, like, you know, your parents, depending on the circumstances, you know, your parents may impose limits for a lot of different reasons.
Sure.
And I think it's hard to know what's right for every situation, and like they only get to raise you once. Right.
Exactly.
So, like,
and they will make mistakes.
That's what they're scared of, is that like, you know, if you just if they don't do anything about your game playing and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, a decade down the road and you can't talk to people in real life, then like, well, that, you know, that would suck.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was a really good question to Cantu. So yeah, that's some good discussion. All right, well, we're almost done here. We're going to get out of your hair, but we do have the iTunes podcast review of the week section. So, Brian, I'm just going to let you take this one away. We do have a review this week, which is good. I don't know if we had multiple. Did we have one? Did we have?
Yeah, we had a couple of reviews. We had one that's like points for creativity. You like rewrote lyrics to a Five Finger Death Punch song with Reddit as the theme. Oh, no. So I will tell you, I read it. I definitely I tried to process it. I'm gonna leave that one in iTunes.
I'm just gonna say that the comment, which he is not reading right now, in the doc says "thanks, but wow, cringe" in italics. So I guess.
I mean, look,
fair enough.
Here's the thing. I feel like I need an audio version of it to really understand, because it was hard for me to pair the phrasing with the song itself, and so that's why it was like hard for me to get on board with.
Sure.
But we do, like I said, appreciate your review. And so this is a simple review. I'll go through real quick the instructions. As you'll see from this review here, not hard to get featured. It is very easy. You rate the podcast 5 stars on iTunes, and you put whatever you want in the name section, in the title section, in the memo section, anything you want. It really doesn't matter. But you should do that. If you haven't rated us before, please go do so, and you might get featured on the casts. So this week is real simple, and I think highlights the simplicity of the iTunes system. Sometimes we get like really intricate, well thought out, things. Sometimes we get lyrics to songs reimagined as Reddit memes. And that's all great. Like, that's really great stuff. But sometimes it's just good to keep it simple. And so the title of this one is just the KBMOD Podcast. And it's by Super Kenneth 51. And I'm like that. That's not a meme. That's just like, I'm guessing that's how Kenneth goes around on the internet. He is Super Kenneth 51.
Yes.
And the review is, it's aight.
And I think, even though as short as that review is, if the podcast for me could ever, after how many episodes have we done? 200 now, and 34 episodes of this show. If the overwhelming sentiment from everybody that's ever listened is, it's aight, then I'm happy.
We've won.
I mean, we've won. There's a lot of things that go on that have gone on for a long time that a lot of people end up just hating in the end. So if the overwhelming theme is it's aight, I feel like that's a win for us.
Yeah, I'll take a slight air of positivity over the lifespan of this podcast.
100%.
Any day.
100%.
Any day.
So that's a win. So thank you, Kenneth 51, for your
Super Kenneth 51. I'm actually tempted to Google his name and see where else Super Kenneth 51 is, but I'm not going to do that.
I think Kenneth 51. I'm pretty sure Kenneth is subscribed. I don't know if he has super in front of his name. I think because I recognize.
I bet it's the same one.
So it's the same one probably, but he probably had to, for an iTunes account, had to add super or something because maybe somebody. Yeah,
you got to get creative. I tell you what, man. I feel like depending on how long you've been on the internet, like Scott and I definitely. Yeah. Like some of your accounts, man, you have numerals. You've got like old aliases that like you're not proud of now.
Nope.
Like and actually the only one that still haunts me to this day is my Steam account, because my Steam account, the name of it is tied to an old email address. I've since updated the email address, but Steam does not let you change the display email when you log in. So that one, man, anytime I've got to log out and log back into Steam, there's just that reminder of my previous idiocy.
It's good though. In a way, it keeps you connected to your past. Do you know what I mean?
It does.
Like not to forget.
It was a different time.
It was.
I will forever be pained.
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about as well. I think I know exactly what it is. All right. Well, that does it for episode 234 of the KBMOD podcast. Thank you for listening. It was a fun one, man. I don't think we've talked that much Call of Duty or Battlefield in a while, so it's good.
That's a good one.
Got into it.
Once the news rolls around, man, we had some good games, man. We talked Uncharted 4. We talked Doom. So it was fun. We had some really good questions this week. So we'll be back for episode 235, and we'll just keep on trucking, man. I think, well into our 80s and 90s, God bless if we live that long, the KBMOD podcast will still be going in some form. I mean, who knows? Katie Zen will probably be married by that point, have 6 or 7 children, living in Indiana somewhere. But we'll be in a nursing home. I'll be on whatever version of the blue snowball that's floating in space or something.
We'll still be on Windows 10.
We'll still be on Windows 10. Call of Duty Advanced Super Infinite Warfare 62 will be out, but we'll still be here.
Remastered.
No, it'll still be Infinite Warfare. It's just that game will just live forever because that war never ends.
It is infinite. It truly is. You can check us out. You can check each of us out on Twitter. Brandon is at Volition, VOL1TION. Katie Zen is at KatieZen18. I am at APL Fisher. Obviously, at KBMOD Gaming on Twitter as well for news and updates in regarding to the site and other things. Go to KBMOD.com. Articles, hardware stuff, reviews, all of that good stuff. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Farewell.
Yatta!
That's funnier when I imagine you as a green frog.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, seeing that.